Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a 737 pilot and a member of PMDG's tech team. So, today we are finally in the United States again, and we are flying from Philadelphia to Indianapolis on the Sunday-Funday event. So this one promises to be quite an exciting one and quite an interesting one, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, since 737 pilot, welcome to the US. Well, my pleasure, my pleasure. It's been a long time, I mean, except for yesterday on the charity flight, but it's been a long time that I've actually done like a real United States flight. So that's just one more reason why I'm really looking forward to this one. Now, I am, to be honest, not 100% familiar with all the procedures that are being used here, so if you guys might help me out from time to time, that would certainly be appreciated. Now, our flight plan is just about ready, and our flight plan is just about computed, so let's have a look into what we are about to do. We are flying the A310 in a livery that I'm sure many of you won't have seen in a time. So we'll be flying Pan American today. I hope that I will actually do Pan Am justice. And looking into the sceneries that we're using today, we have the freeware scenery for Philadelphia from FlightSim.to, which is a pretty nice scenery, but you know, it's still working based on the freeware, so if it's not 100% like the remainder of the sceneries that we are used to in my live streams, then I just couldn't find anything payware available for Philadelphia, but that won't be too much a problem. Then we are going to use our Dominic design team scenery for Indianapolis. So that's also something that I am really looking forward to, because it will be my very first flight going there. And of course, we are flying the A310 once more. So, if I'm not totally wrong, I forgot to set the real time. I did indeed. But nonetheless, this should hopefully be a flight completely in daylight conditions, so I'm hoping the sun is not going to set that quick. Over here in Europe where I am, it's dark for like 3 hours already, so it's really nice to see the sun once more. So, with all of that said, let's have a look into the flight plan and into what we are about to do today. So, don't worry about the aircraft registration, I just took the Lufthansa Airbus that I had saved. But I did change the way to pounds, so hopefully that is going to suit my American friends a little bit better. Looking into it then, weather-wise, here we are, Philadelphia, few clouds, 7,000 feet. Apart from that, rather cold at 2 degrees, but showing really good weather. Indianapolis, clear skies, it's gonna remain that way all day long, but we are expecting some gusts to pick up tomorrow, which once again, it's only tomorrow, so for today, looks like the forecast is spot on there. I don't know how things are gonna go with the amount of traffic in an event like this, but I would imagine that at this time on a Sunday, there's probably gonna be a little bit of traffic, so why don't we just take like half an hour extra fuel? So, let's say we have 4,000 pounds per half an hour, so if we make this 29, if we make that 33,000 pounds, that should hopefully cover us for the flight, including some extra. So that's what I personally do when I just don't know what to expect on an event. Just load half an hour in, it doesn't cost us any money in here, and since we don't have any, or at least since I don't have any experienced captain who knows the route very well with me, because that is normally what we do in real life when I haven't been somewhere yet, then the captains have probably been there, and if it's indeed a new destination that none of us has an idea about, then, you know, you can always make your judgments. Like, if you're going to a really busy place for the first time, like London or Madrid or Paris or something like that, then we'll probably just load up a little bit of extra fuel. Now, if none of us was familiar with the place. And I figure, since we are flying 1980s style here, 1990s style, well, 1990s doesn't really suit Pan Am anymore, so since we are flying 1980s style, I figure taking half an hour extra is not really gonna be much of a problem. Alright, so let's head over into our flight deck, and let's get that thing loaded up. By the way, for those of you who've been with me on the charity livestream yesterday, thank you, thank you, thank you. Our target was 1,200 euros, and in the end, we got 2,750 euros. So that is not only going to pay the food for the children whom we collected money for the 4 months as planned, but it's gonna do like 9 month time, which is really appreciated. So thank you very much for everybody who joined yesterday on the charity flight. Once again, thank you. Alright, Jordan, hey man, glad to catch one of your live streams finally. Loving the Pan Am livery. When do you head to your new airline? That is going to be at some point in the second quarter next year, probably. I'm still waiting for the exact start date, but it's going to be at some point that time. Right, so let's go ahead and load up our airplane. We said we wanted to take 33,000 pounds of fuel. Probably like this. Then, for the passengers, we are fully booked today. 238 people. And then we'll just about use the cargo to match up the zero fuel weight. So 236.9 is what we're looking for. And 236.7 is the closest we'll get. Alright, we'll apply that. So let's fire up the airplane. Quick check of the battery voltage up here. They have to be greater than 25.5. It's just an Airbus thing. In the Boeing we don't do that. But if that's what it is, then that's what it is. Right, so wipers are off, landing gear down, flap lever agrees with the flap position, fuel switch is off, weather radar off, safety inspection complete. So let's apply some power and let's get the airplane fired up. By the way, lots of you people have asked me if I could finally use some company routes. Now, personally, I'm not too much a fan of company routes, but well, let's use them nonetheless. So we can do that in the INI build managers if we go on pilot support. I'm sure that most of you will know it by now anyway. Can I export the flight plan down there, and that is done. Alright. So, we have been refueled. Let's quickly click those away. We don't have any fuel on board. It's empty. So, did it... I have a feeling I loaded 33 kilos rather than... 33 pounds rather than 33,000 pounds. Okay. Well, in that case, that's probably better. Yeah, that looks better. 33,000 pounds. That's what we're gonna need. Alright, so position display number 1. IRS is on. Just again, be aware of the bug that we have in the A310 at the moment, that if you're using real-time IRS alignment, the things can take like an hour to align. So that's why I'm using the instant alignment mode, making things a little bit quicker, to put it that way. So A310 CF6 engines, the database is valid. Let's go to init ref and actually let's just uplink it from a SimBrief. Well, before we do that, I want to see if this thing actually does recognize a company route. If I enter the airport pair, and it does. Nice. Okay, insert, then we'll take the company route. Cruise level above max level, we're gonna solve that one later. Even though I wonder why I am using the official IndyBuilds profile, but I did notice over the past couple of days that the IndyBuilds profile seems to be using quite a bit more fuel than the actual aircraft in the simulator. So, I don't know, maybe IndyBuilds has to do something about that. Anyway, so that's pretty much this part complete. So then, we are done with fueling, so seatbelts can go on, hydraulics off, flight recorder on. I don't know if that's actually an FAA requirement in the USA. In Germany, we'd certainly need to turn it on at this point. But if that actually has to be done in the United States, I'm not 100% sure about that. At least I would think that it's probably not the case, because otherwise Boeing wouldn't have built a 737 in a way that you don't need to do it. But well, I guess that falls under the category of stuff that pilots, you know, that you think about on a long flight, but that you don't really have an influence on. So after all, you start ignoring it pretty quickly. Alright. It works. I'll take it from there. Yeah, look, I can actually switch it manually. Always want to try that. Okay, what's the actual temperature? 8 degrees in the cabin. Yeah, that's not acceptable. We'll fire up the APU before we start boarding. That is a little cold. At least the flight deck's a bit warmer, but definitely time to get that APU running. Okay, so what's the weather looking like? Saturn flight plan was looking good, but it's just updated for the sake of it. Oh, we've got a bit of weather here in Philadelphia. 290 at 23, gust 38. Certainly didn't look that bad when I looked outside. This is really so windy? Wow. I never expected that. This looked like a clear and calm day to me. Cold but calm. Well, looks like I'm proven wrong. And altimeter 3022. Well, from time to time it's nice to be proven wrong, though. So let's do that brake check, or rather that alternate brake check, and it works. By the way, notice how the brake accumulator pressure is going down there whenever I apply the brakes. It's a nice feature. So have I emptied them? Well, not quite. I hope it's enough to avoid the GSX bug. So when GSX didn't want to push yesterday, I have a feeling because the accu pressure was 0, GSX just didn't register that the brakes had actually been released. Now, should have been the other way around, but we all know GSX, we all know what that program's about, so we'll just about take it from there. Okay, destination elevation, 800 feet. That's really a well-hidden selector down here, I have to say. Right, 800, there we go. Flight plan's done with, that stuff's done with. Weather radar is off. So let's see, oil quantity is looking good, it's full. Hydraulic quantity, full as well. And that's about it. Recall. Normal. Okay. Then let's start working a little bit on the FMS. So, we do have Philadelphia to Indianapolis. Our alternate plant is Chicago. Don't have a company route for that, but that's not really surprising. So it said earlier that 380 is too high, so we'll just take it a little bit lower. So, Philadelphia departure runway. Do we have an HOTAS anywhere? Yes, actually both an arrival and a departure HOTAS. That's cool. So, 135925. Let's try and listen to that.
$854 Zulu. Wind 300 at 23, gust 38. Visibility 10. Few clouds at 7,000. Temperature 2. Dew point -15. Altimeter 3022. Departing runway 27 left, notices to air mission. Operate transponder on mode Charlie on all taxiways and runways. Advise on initial contact. You have information Foxtrot.
Oh no, I muted myself when I heard the, sorry guys. I muted myself when I listened to the HOTAS to avoid the echo. Okay, I got it. And Metal Eye 249 for making me aware. Thanks so much, my friend. Now you should be able to hear me again. I tried to avoid that echo and hit the mute button on my microphone. Alright, well, anyway, you saw what I did there, and I don't think I actually said anything that would have been too important in the meantime. In fact, I primarily said something about my takeoff performance, which I calculated there, and primarily that I actually hoped that it would understand the altimeter setting correctly, because I was a little surprised over here, looking at the altimeter, that it even though it's set to inches, it initially filled out 1023 hectopascals. And then I was a little bit afraid that if I went to the weight section up here and put the weights in pounds in, and it gave me rather high takeoff speeds, seeing that we're only doing like a 1 hour and 40 flight. And I was a little bit afraid that it actually understood this one as kilograms rather than as pounds, because those are speeds that I'm used to from flying the A310 transatlantic in the recent days, and not from an hour and 40 sector. You know, so I was a little bit surprised about that, but I think you didn't miss anything in the meantime. I think that's been it primarily. Alright, so what do I want to do next? We want to have a look at the charts to prepare ourselves. So let's start doing that. So I don't think we need this anymore, but we will certainly need this. And maybe a departure chart would be good. Philadelphia 2 departure is, I guess, what we can expect. And that's not of any greater use for us. So let's see what we have up here. Top altitude 5,000, that's what we put in the FCU already. Expect radar vectors to first navigate, and initial climb, exception inset for runway 27 left from 22 local to 6 local, okay. We are not in that time, so we won't have to do this. So, I think that should be it. So, runway 27 departure, then radar vectors to Modena, however you actually pronounce that one. Okay, Sim 737 pilot, what did SimBrief give you for the block fuel? That was something around 29,000 pounds, and I rounded it up to 33,000. So for the European friends among us, I'm actually using pounds today, so if you see a value like 33 in the fuel for our departure, then that is actually just because of the settings being in pounds and not in kilograms. Okay, I think we're mostly done with the preparation, so let's go ahead and do a quick departure briefing. Threats for the departure. I'm a little unfamiliar with the US procedures, so we'll just about have to take things slow, and we'll have to be careful that we don't mess anything up. The pushback clearance is always a thing, so I'm probably just gonna ask air traffic control when we get our PDC if they want us to call prior to pushback or if we can just push on our own, because I haven't totally understood that procedure yet. And yes, I know, I said the same thing on my Boston to JFK video in the 737, but it unfortunately is the truth. So I haven't quite understood that yet. Anyway, that's what we can ask. Apart from that, I don't really see any particular issues for this departure, so let's go ahead and do a route check. So we're going from Philadelphia to Indianapolis. The company route is in, so no need to check all the waypoints. We got 519 nautical miles in the FMS and 521 in the flight plan, so that's good enough. UTC time 1955, altimeter 3022, reading about 30 feet-ish. The flight directors are on, and the standby instrument set. Left sea takeoff, runway 27 left, flaps 15, noise abatement, departure 2, and in case of any emergencies, we'll go straight ahead, climbing 3,000 feet. That will keep us above the MSA. Pushback to probably the right-hand side, I would assume. Let's have a look into the actual charts to see where we are. So we're parking here in Alpha West, and then taxi, I guess, somewhere via Kilo. Most likely crossing over here, or crossing over at Lima, and then 27 left for the departures. Alright, the departure, Philadelphia 2 departure, is going to be primarily radar vector, transition altitude 18,000 as always in the US. Initial climb heading assigned by air traffic control, exception is only in night time, so that doesn't apply to us yet. Top altitude 5,000 feet. And Sim 737 pilot, if you're on a stunt that pushes into active taxiway, then you definitely need clearance. Well, it doesn't look like it, if I'm honest, so To me, this looks like you might push all the way up there. To be honest, I don't know how the AFCAT is designed, so I have no idea what GSX is going to do with us. So, that's probably... We'll just take it the safe option and we'll ask our traffic control. I think that's probably it. So, let's give delivery a call and see if they have a PDC for us. And delivery is on 1885. Philadelphia delivery, good afternoon. Clipper 295 Heavy with information. Golf request PDC. Are they gonna talk with us? Philadelphia delivery, Clipper 295 Heavy, radio check. This time it's not me. You guys can hear me, right?
I think I'll say again, sorry, we are breaking.
Philadelphia delivery, good afternoon. Clipper 295 Heavy, information golf request PDC.
Papa Alpha 295, standby, Philadelphia delivery. PDC, okay, that's gonna take a while, but I'll get to you. You are number 7 and 9. Just ring me up if I've forgotten you, just in case, you know. PDC, I'll get that. Or I'll let you know when I send a PDC. Might be earlier than that. Thanks.
We can take voice as well if that's quicker.
I could leave for one to your clearance. I know there's a line, but requested clearance to Indianapolis as well.
Oh, doesn't seem like it.
Pilot Club 841.
Okay, well, if he's ignoring us for now, then he's ignoring us for now, so might take about a while. So we got a clearance. Let's go ahead and start reading our checklist in the meantime. Before I start, checks down to the line. Cockpit prep completed, signs on auto, fuel quantity 32.9, navigation check set, landing elevation 800 set, altimeter 3022 giving me 30 feet, and brake and skid is normal on before start checks complete down to the line.
Standby, one moment.
Okay, so delivery seems a little busy at the moment, so well, while we're waiting for PDC to come through, which as he said might take a time, might as well go back and say hello to the passengers.
American 2823, Philadelphia delivery, clearance on request, standby, you are number 9.
Ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon from your captain. My name is Emmanuel, and I would like to welcome you aboard our Pan American flight 295 taking us towards Indianapolis. Flight time today is about an hour and 40 minutes. We do expect a smooth ride. It's 36,000 feet. For now, sit back, relax, enjoy the flight with us, and the cabin crew is going to demonstrate the safety features on board this Airbus A310 in a few moments, so do pay your attention to that, as it's not just for your own safety, but also for the safety of the chaps around you. Thank you very much for your attention. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. I'm not going to do a German PA. They're probably just going to look strange at me.
Pilot Club 145, did I give you your clearance yet?
Geo Luna, what keys do you use to walk through the cabin from the cockpit? I'm using the keys in the camera menu of the flight simulator that...
I got it for Pilot Club 105.
Oh, no,
I'm using the keys in the flight simulator that are named something like Translate View, forward, backwards, upwards, downwards. So that's how I'm walking around. And a Sim 737 pilot seems odd with a heavy call time. What's the max takeoff weight? I don't know in pounds, but in kilograms, the max takeoff weight is 157 tons. So 136
Plus
is
711. I have
the limit for a heavy aircraft. So that's why it's in heavy.
Ready to copy, 711.
Handy, 25 planes on the ground for delivery in Philly. It might be a bit overwhelmed. Yeah, I guess so. So we were number 7 in line, he said, so hopefully... Would kind of hope that PDC goes a little bit quicker than the weight we have otherwise. Because on voice I know that
Clear
will
to
be
Indianapolis, get a
at least 15 or 20 minutes delay.
Vector Modena, then a file, maintain 5000.
But who knows, we will be getting there momentarily, I hope. In the meantime, just about gonna wait for a little bit.
128.4, squawk 3021.
But I was surprised that this guy didn't know the Clipper call sign. I mean, is Pan Am that forgotten in the United States yet? I kinda expected like everybody should know that one, right?
Roger.
Pilot 711, contact ground on 121.9 when you're ready to taxi. Thank you.
Well, so for now, checklists are done, briefing is done, aircraft is prepared. Not a lot more that, well, we can actually get GSX to start doing something.
You're looking for me.
Because I have absolutely no idea how long that might take. So prepare for pushback and departure. And, well,
Okay,
I guess
previously
American
picked
will
it
have
up,
to
but if
do.
you have something different, we're ready to listen.
Okay, you picked it up already. Yep, that's why I was calling, because I wanted to be sure I have given you a clearance. Okay, you have given you this. That's cool. Nothing to add then. Just want to be sure before I take you off the list.
Okay, no problem. Thanks. Pilot Club 145.
Hello,
All right.
Captain.
Thanks.
We are ready for
And Sim 737 pilot, yes, it's a classic. Yeah, that's what I kind of thought as well. So, also a little surprised that he didn't know PAA. And Sim 737 pilot, where in the paperwork would you find the operating empty weight for each flight if you change aircraft? It would be in the aircraft's weight and balance certificate, but not in the operating flight plan or something. At least not in the format that we're using in my airline. It might of course be that in other airlines that might be in there, but certainly not in mine.
5000, expect flight level 36010 minutes after departure. Departure frequency is 128.4.
And Andy, saw someone flying a VATSIM last night, and I'll be honest, I was confused for a minute. Model matching certainly didn't know who they were supposed to be. Yeah, model matching can be a bit of a thing on VATSIM, unfortunately. Now there is all kind of rather good add-ons available there, but
contact ground on 121.9 when ready to taxi.
right, ground on 121.9, we might pre-select that. I guess it has to be a little strange that we are using an 8.33 kilohertz radio on this one. These things probably didn't exist back in the day when Pan Am was still flying. Actually, are those 8.33 kilohertz radios common in the US, or are they still not being used over there?
Last call sign, say again.
It's Pilot Club 14906. I'm requesting a radio check.
Pilot Club 14906, I read you loud and clear.
Roger that. I'll be looking to pick up IFR to Indianapolis, and I'm ready to copy.
Ready, copy. That one sounds
Pilot Club
nice.
14906, stand by. Clearance on request, you are number 5.
Number
Roger, standing
5.
by.
They had number 13 a few
Pilot
moments
Club
ago.
329, I have your
So
clearance radio.
hopefully our clearance should be next.
Pilot Club 329, we're ready to contact her.
Finale, good evening. Nice to see you here.
Indianapolis Airport, flight 52 departure, radar vectors, Modena, that is Mike X-ray Echo, 10 as well, maintain 5000, expect flight level 32010 minutes after departure, departure frequency is 128.4, and your squawk is 3023.
Clear to the Indianapolis airport as filed. Philadelphia 2 departure radar vector to Modena.
And Canelli, you actually
Maintain
didn't miss too
5000,
much
then
yet.
file
We're sitting in
30,
Philly, we've been
10
number
minutes
7
after
for
departure.
appearance. I think we should have gotten it by now, but he probably forgot us.
Squawk
And that
30,
gentleman did not know
for
the call sign of Pan American.
Pilot Club 329, read back is correct. Push outside at your discretion. Watch for
And
traffic.
737 pilot, yes, exactly. We normally get all the weight and balance stuff into the EFB.
When you're ready to
Of
taxi.
course, the weight certificate and stuff like that is
I will
also
contact
digitally
ground
in our
1.0
EFBs.
and
We don't have those in paper on board anymore.
So clearing Pilot Club 50 information Golf clearance to Indianapolis.
After the next one, I'm gonna give him
Pilot
a
Club
call.
16, Philadelphia delivery.
Because by now he's certainly given out more than 7 clearances.
Stand by clearance on equation number 4.
Clipper 295, I think you might have forgotten us.
Oh yes, Papa Alpha 295. Thanks for that reminder. I should let me walk in your clearance right now. Just a reminder, it's a PDC, right?
Yeah, we can take PDC or voice as you prefer. We are ready to copy on voice as well.
Alright, I will just do voice. It's a struggle to sad filling up. Or you know what? Just give me a second. Any one of it. I'll just let you know. Just let me look at the route.
No worries.
Silvery, Envoy 1922, have you got my clearance yet?
And for 1922, you are next after this I'm doing. Thank you.
Alright. Well, this is a nice guy. He actually acknowledged that he forgot us. So, I like that. Just because it's that little bit of honesty that sometimes you are missing in other parts of flight simulation, if you know what I'm talking about. So, let's see if any message is going to come anytime soon. Here we are on the pilot client, waiting for it. He's probably... Is he hand typing our clearance? Because I thought the majority of controllers in the US just click 2 or 3 buttons and then they send them out automatically. That's what I thought. Now, if he's... There we go. That's a PDC. So, EA 295, equipment A310, departure Philly, Bravo Indianapolis, squawk 3024.
Pilot Club 306, Philadelphia delivery.
So we have 3024. Final altitude 380, approved route is Philadelphia to MXE, Pansy. So we have MXE, Pansy, Juliet 110 towards Alpha India Romeo, then Rinty. Okay, departure frequency 128.4, altitude district maintain 5000. What's he going to send us now? Departure procedure Philadelphia 2, plan runway 27 left for departure, connect ground frequency.
295, confirm you have received your PDC.
Papa Alpha 295, affirm, PDC received, and we're changing the ground. Thank you very much, have a good day.
Alright, good day.
Alright. So, kind of Philly ground frequency 1.9 for taxi with the sign set. Right, well, I'll just take the safe option here, and I'll ask him real quick if we do actually need pushback clearance. So departure 128. Point,
Philadelphia Echo 5,
or is it
Echo, hold short
108.4?
27
Might
right on
about
Echo,
that
Pilot
as
Club
well.
329.
Pilot Club 2349, you could cross 35 on Sierra, continue taxi Sierra, Sierra 1, hold short 279.
Okay, Delta cross 35, hold from Sierra, Sierra 1, hold short of 27 left, 2349.
Ground Pilot Club 217 approaching spot 7 with hotel for taxi.
Pilot Club 217, runway 27 left, taxi via Romeo, Kilo, November, hold short 9 or left on November.
27 left via Romeo Kilo, November, hold short 27 left on November. Confirm clear to cross 27 right on November.
Pilot Club 217, hold short 27 right on November.
Hold short 27 right on November, got it. 27.
Clear ground, good evening. Clipper 295. Could you just confirm if we need a pushback clearance from the stand?
Pushing service, pilots on risk.
Thank you very much. Pushing start, pilot discretion, Clipper 295.
Ground Pilot Club 4479.
Yeah, well, in that case,
Alpha request cleared 27 left.
What do I click now?
Pilot Club 44.
Continue pushback.
Stand by.
Round the nose to the right, please.
Correction, 4479.
Pilot Club 6, you can cross 27 right on my
Is there anyone behind us?
short taxiway.
Yeah, I might just about wait for that WestJet.
Cross 27 right on Mike, hold short 27
Can I
Lima.
still change the pushback direction?
Pilot Club 4479.
No, I can't, okay. Then we've got to wait for that WestJet here to taxi off, otherwise GSX might just about push us into them.
Pilot Club 2349, contact tower 118.5.
Anyway, let's complete the checklist already. So, windows doors, closed, beacon on, park brake set. Before start checks complete down to the line.
Pilot Club is
So, the WestJet is moving, then let's go ahead and
runway
break
27
off.
left, taxi via Echo 5. Echo, hold short 27 right on Echo.
Sounds good.
Echo 5, Echo, hold short 27 right.
And to cut you, what's the percentage of real-life commercial pilots who fly on VATSIM? Yeah, what was that? Did we still have
Pilot
ground power
Club
connected?
711, cross 27 right on
probably.
hold short November.
Oh boy.
I mean, hold short Papa.
Oops.
Cross,
Did you know that that very same thing happened less than a week ago
cross 27
in
right,
Düsseldorf
Kilo
in real
4,
life?
and also
Somebody started pushback with ground power connected and things got a little ugly there. Well, for us though, let's go ahead, start number 2.
And a Primera 4211 Heavy, we're holding short
Right, and 2
November
and 1.
Sierra.
Oil pressure.
Primera 4211 heavy. You could go on to Sierra 3. Contact tower 118.5.
Okay,
Sierra,
tower
it's
118.5,
going to be
we'll
too
remember
short,
that.
Primera 4211. We need a full link.
Primera 4211 heavy Sierra 1. Hold short 27 left on Sierra 1 and contact tower 118.5.
And Stefan, good evening. Nice to see you
Sierra
here.
1 and 185, Primera 4211.
No, guys, the WestJet is gone. That
Ground
WestJet
Pilot
is
Club
gone.
145, spot 10 Alpha, request taxi. With,
I wonder if
hotel.
he's gonna push us all the way into the taxiway. I hope
Pilot
not.
Club 145, stand by. Pilot Club 6. You can go into Sierra.
Quite a bit of traffic waiting
hold
there
short
as well.
27 left on Sierra 3.
Sierra, hold short 27 left on Sierra. Sorry about that, Pilot Club. Ground Pilot Club 826, short 27 right on Echo.
Yeah, it looks to me like they're
Pilot
actually trying
Club
to
8,
push us all the way
26, cross 27 right on Echo. Continue taxi
off the
Echo
apron,
Sierra,
so
Sierra 1.
we'll just about stop the pushback here,
Echo.
and we'll have to make a 180-degree turn manually when we start taxiing. Might be better than if he pushes us all the way to the taxiway.
Pilot Club 145, foot off the ground. Did you call last?
Affirmative, Pilot Club
And
145.
Stefan,
taxi
yeah, what
with
happened to
hotel.
that airplane where the ground
Pilot
power was
Club
still connected?
145, foot off the ground. Thank you for
unit
hotel. Runway 27
ripped off.
left, taxi via Kilo 3,
The
Kilo.
plug was
hold
damaged,
short.
the airplane grounded,
27 right on Mike.
and of course the ground power unit was
Alright,
needed
runway
a new
27
cable
left
and new
via
plug as
Kilo
well.
3, Kilo, hold
That's
short
pretty much what
27 right at
happened
Mike, Pilot Club 145.
So I guess that just falls under the category of
traffic
beep
in front of you.
happens.
Yeah, Roger. Club 6.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
Okay, thanks. 2 good starts, clear signal on the front, and have a good day.
Ground, Alpha 1922. This is Miss Gold requesting taxi clearance. We're on Foxtrot.
Envoy 1922, standby.
Yeah, we
Right,
actually got
and
moving, sorry about
1.6 up.
Hey, ground pilots over east 20.
So let's do flight control track. Up, down, neutral, left, right, neutral, rudders, left, right, and neutral. And the after start checks. Pitch trim, set, rudder trim, 0, spoilers, arms, slats, flaps, 15, 15. Decam status checked, any eyes, off, hand signal. She's somewhere over there.
Attention all aircraft photo off the ground, stand by.
Yeah, she's going. Okay.
Standing by.
After start checks. We just set all stations standby, so let's give it a short moment before we request our taxi. How's things looking towards the holding points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we're looking at least at like 15 minutes or so. Well, let's try. Clipper 295 Heavy, request taxi.
Last aircraft calling photo off the ground, stand by for me.
Okay, stand by, so we're gonna wait. Let's see if we can beat Frankfurt. You guys remember that live stream where we taxied for like an hour and 10 minutes and flew for only 40 minutes between Munich and Frankfurt? Let's see if we can beat that somehow. Well, let's seriously hope not, because over here it's like 9:15 PM already. But we've got time. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is there any more? Hidden anywhere? Oh, looks like it only goes 9. So, how many heavies do we count? I don't think any. I think it's all medium aircraft. So, pretty much a minute and a bit for each. They give me something like 10 minutes, I guess, until they're all gone. 5 minutes taxi time, so I guess it's gonna be like 5 minutes
Tower
of
Club
waiting
6
over
foot
here.
off the ground, yeah, go ahead and contact Tower 1 on 8.5.
18.5, thanks for help, Pilot 6.
Philadelphia ground, envoy 1922, we're still waiting on taxi.
Stefan, by the way, it is possible to listen to nothing
Envoy
on Windows Morse
1922,
code.
stand by, control.
Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I could not activate this.
Understood.
I couldn't activate that in the 310 either, so I'm guessing it's probably really, not possible in the 310 at the moment. I do believe in the PMDG DC6 it used to be possible, so, looks like in the simulator overall you can actually do it. Probably it's just the 310 that doesn't allow for it. But that's just playing guessing games here. I'm not 100% sure about that either. So, I guess we could just cross the runway behind here, taxi by here, and then hold sort of here, giving way to all those other aircraft, right? But I'm wondering why there's nothing happening. I mean, these guys are standing there for quite a while already. In Indianapolis they have 2 landing runways, so I would think that they could make all those aircraft depart rather quickly if they're only using a single departure runway here in Philly. And then they have 2 landing runways in Indianapolis.
Round 9. Excuse me. And current 80s is Gulf. Yeah, current 80s is Gulf. Aircraft requesting taxi. You can call up for taxi now. Let me get that down.
Philadelphia ground, envoy 1922, we're on Philly, expressing taxi with Mission Goal.
Alright, Envoy 1922, a moment. Are you forcing the right code? Which is forcing the right code?
Which block is 3025?
Okay, then it's a transponder sector mode. Okay, there we go. I see now. There we go. Never mind. Envoy 1922, runway 27 left, taxi via Bravo Echo, hold short runway 27 right.
Taxi via Bravo Echo. We actually are past Bravo. Can we just go Golf Echo to the runway?
Oh, yeah, sure. I didn't know which way your aircraft was facing, but yeah, Golf Echo, hold short runway 27 right. That's good.
Okay, Golf Echo, hold short runway 27 right. 27 right, thank you.
Clipper 295 Heavy on the Alpha West apron. We are supporting the correct code and even have turned it on. Request taxi.
Yep, still waiting for the clearance. Cessna, correction, experimental 824 Whiskey Tango.
Alright, Whiskey Tango, I should get to you soon. Or actually get to you off next. Thank you.
Philly round pilot club 105, you have my clearance?
Pilot Club 105? 1 second, Pilot Club 10. Okay, I didn't give you a clearance. Pilot Club 105 standby. You're number 2 for clearance. Or yes.
Ground Pilot Club 06, ready to taxi with Golf from North Apron.
I have a feeling that I'm too nice. With everyone else just passing a beam.
Hold short runway 27. Hold short runway 26.
Right, taxi to 27 via Delta, hold short runway 26, Pilot Club 06.
Clipper 295 Heavy, request taxi with Golf.
Alpha 295, runway 27 left, taxi via Tango Kilo. Actually, you know what? Taxi via Tango, hold short runway 27 right.
Runway 27 left, taxi by Tango, hold short 27 right, Clipper 295.
Okay, Pilot Club 69, cross runway 27
right, so by
right,
Tango, that's pretty much the
Echo
180
Sierra.
degree turn that we talked about earlier
Cross
on.
27 right, continue taxi
So let's flick those lights on, brake off, then we'll make a 180.
Pilot Club 39
And off we go.
Echo 5, prepare taxi to runway 27
Brake check.
Pilot Club
Pressure
329, runway 27 left, taxi via Echo. Actually, Echo 5 Echo, hold short runway 27 right.
Look at that turning distance. This thing can turn almost on the spot.
via Echo 5, holding short of runway 27 right. Pilot Club 39.
Pilot Club 145, cross runway 27 right, continue taxi via Mike Sierra.
Cross runway 27 right, continue via Mike Sierra for 27
Alright,
left,
so we
Pilot
go
Club
straight ahead via
145.
Tango and then hold short on the runway.
American 2823 Heavy, just want to confirm what's on the distance there.
Right is clear, left is clear.
American 2823, Philadelphia delivery. Oh, say Philadelphia ground, standby, clearance over west.
And we hold short of the runway over here. That
Ground,
was like
onboard 1922, behind the Pilot Club.
we're a couple meters further. We're a couple meters
Echo
further. We gotta see the positive
47
things.
Right.
Alright, got that. Pilot Club 6755, cross runway 27 right.
Right.
Continue taxi via Echo Sierra.
Take a briefing. It's gonna be a left seat takeoff, runway 27 left, flaps 15, noise abatement 2, takeoff speeds 58, 62, 65.
You can go
And
ahead, cross runway 27 right.
our sit is gonna be on the runway heading, and we contact the departure. Advised by the tower on 128.4. We're climbing at an altitude of 5,000 feet, and the MSA in the area is 2,600, so in case of any emergencies, we just go straight at 25 miles, climb to 3,000 feet, and that's going to keep us safe. You have any questions on the departure briefing there?
Okay, Pilot Club 15.
Probably not. So, before takeoff, checklist down to the line. Flight controls checked, briefing confirmed. Slats flaps,
Just remind me in
15,
about like 3
15.
minutes, just stand by.
Performance and FMAs. We have 59 degrees flight temperature.
Alpha 295, cross runway 27 right, continue taxi via Tango Papa November Sierra.
Cross 27 right, continue taxi via Tango Papa November Sierra. Papa Alpha Alpha 295.
Pilot Club 306, cross runway 26,
Okay, so
continue taxi via Delta, hold short runway 27 right.
next light on, brakes off.
That was for
Then
Pilot Club
Tango,
306. Clear
Papa,
cross runway 8 via Delta, and then we'll hold short 27
Sierra,
right. Pilot Club
okay.
306.
So that's pretty much straight
Pilot
ahead,
Club
first to the left, and then we'll take the first
short runway.
Taxiway on the right hand side.
Okay,
left is clear, right is clear.
Runway 27 right, continue taxi by
Strobe lights on.
Pilot Club 69, you can go ahead and contact tower 118.5. Envoy 1923, you can go ahead and contact tower 118.5.
1.8.5, thank you. Tower just went offline.
Oh, you serious? Let me check that. Let me confirm that. Okay. One second. I still have tower here. Just give me a second.
Tower 185.
Alright, let's continue with the checklist for now. Performance FMAs.
Alright.
Check.
824.
And
Tango, I have your clearance ready. Sorry for keeping you waiting.
we'll take him profile and heading for now.
Copy, experimental 4 Whiskey Tango.
Oh, I have to access.
Take a config.
Tango, are you going out of the Bravo airspace or no?
Check.
VFR departure to the northeast.
And transponder is set. Before takeoff checklist complete down to the line. Okay then, first right, first left, and then we'll just about hold in the line. Interesting, this looks quite a bit different than it does on the chart. But, well, so be it.
Whiskey Tango, you are cleared out of the Bravo airspace to the northeast via radar vectors. Maintain VFR at 3000.
Looks to me like we're just about going on here, then Sierra's next to the left. So we'll just about hold short Sierra for now, behind that, Brussels Airlines with an A320 over here? Well, that's gonna be an interesting flight.
Departure frequency 128.4.
Trying to do Transat with a 320, or what's that supposed to be in the end?
834 Whiskey Tango, readback is correct. Push and at your discretion. Expect runway 27 left for departure. Advise on race to taxi.
Is 35 active for Whiskey Tango?
Unfortunately now, we're just using 27 left at the moment. But I'll get back to you if that changes. Just before taxi, just to remind me that.
Roger, think you're ready to taxi. Experimental for Whiskey Tango.
Alright, Whiskey Tango just... Oh, Whiskey Tango, I should stand by a moment. Pilot Club 217,
April.
Pilot Club 217, Pilot Club 217, cross runway 27 right, continue taxi by...
I don't quite like how that guy is standing there, because there is no way how I can maneuver the aircraft out of the jet blast right now. I'm trying to turn it.
Pilot Club 329, cross runway 27 right, continue taxi by Echo Sierra.
Right, well, I'm kind of hoping that I've turned it far enough that the cockpit is shielding. That the cockpit is shielding the jet blast off the left engine, so that nothing enters the air conditioning system. But in this position,
Alpha 295, you can go ahead and contact tower 118.5. Actually, is tower online? Yeah. Pilot Club 105, stand by.
Papa Alpha 295, 118.5, thanks, bye.
Pilot Club 105, I have the clearance ready, advise on right to copy.
2129er, thank you. We'll contact you again when it's ready to depart.
They'll hand you off to me. American 1951, contact departure, have a great flight.
American 1951, over departure, thank you very much, bye-bye.
Philly Tower, good afternoon. Clipper 295 Heavy, ready?
Clipper 295, Philly Tower, hello. You're going to be number 3 in sequence.
After that. Right, number 3, so probably like 5 minutes or so. That is actually not too bad. And Sim 737 pilots. 101 things pilots think about during taxi. Yeah, you know, that's the kind of stuff that you would really only think about when it starts smelling in your cockpit. And once you've smelled that 2 or 3 times, then you've quickly learned that lesson. But yeah, that is certainly stuff that you would not get to think about that quickly. That's true, at least not a flight simulator. So, number 3, that probably means these 2 guys here will go in front of me. So many WestJet special liveries here. Well, I have a feeling that we keep hearing this all-time pilot club, and I believe those are the guys who actually organized the event we're flying into today. And probably the WestJet livery is how my V-pilot interprets that pilot club thing.
Left turn heading 265, copy the wind, 27 left, clear for takeoff, pilot club 145.
Well, should be fine for me though.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do pilot club 217.
We'll hopefully be going in a few
Pilot club
moments.
217, fully tower hello to you.
So that guy's going. He's probably next, and then it's going to be our turn.
Your last part cut out then.
Alright.
Must be a little bit nasty for the controller to have a heavy aircraft in between.
Philadelphia Tower, power
because
club
of the
69,
additional
recording
separation
holding short
requirements.
27 left at Sierra 1, but due to scenery, we don't have a runway that extends this far. Can we join the line over there where the other guys are holding short?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, why don't you pull straight ahead, sorry, pilot club 69, Billy Tower, hello.
I could think about separation and
straight ahead and hold short of Sierra.
the A310.
Alright, straight ahead,
Just
hold
about
short
reminds
Sierra
me
3, pilot club 69.
of the A300, and you know that famous incident, or rather famous accident? I believe it was American 597 or something like that. That went down over Brooklyn, no, over the Bronx actually, I think. Because it flew through wake turbulence from preceding Boeing 747, and the first officer reacted incorrectly by kicking that rudder too hard, actually ripping the entire rudder off the airplane. I somewhat have to think of it when I'm seeing this flight deck and when I'm hearing this.
Stop rudder input. Stop rudder input.
I wonder if that system has actually been installed as a result of that accident. Would kind of surprise me, but then again, it would certainly be understandable if they did that.
Pilot club 145, contact Philly departure. You have a wonderful flight out there.
And warm longer.
Departure, thanks a lot.
That's
See you
the
later,
smell
pilot
you
club
get
145.
when you have a dirty sock in the heat exchanger. Oh boy. I sincerely hope I'll
Pilot
never
club
have to smell that
270,
dirty
hold
sock
short
in the heat
taxiway to
exchanger.
Sierra when you get up there.
Hold short taxiway Sierra, pilot club 217.
I have to check now. Two chaps calling me Papa Alpha Alpha. Now, that is the correct ICAO code for Pan American, isn't it? At least Wikipedia says so. ICAO, Papa Alpha Alpha, yeah, that.
Envoy 1922, we're back.
That certainly looks
Envoy
correct to me.
1922, thanks.
Papa Alpha Alpha.
You can pull ahead. Do you have Sierra 1?
They're
do you
trying
have
to
a
get
runway
rid of that
extension,
airline on
Sierra
Benson.
1 in your scenery, or do you need to pull up to where that
Otherwise,
big
I'm just a
line
little bit
is
too
up there?
surprised if.
I have Sierra 1.
I just can't
Alright,
explain why they don't
Envoy
know that call sign.
1922, you can hold short 27 left at
And
Sierra
Stephen, you
1.
name it. It's spelled Papa Alpha Alpha, but it's pronounced Clipper. But you know, that's the thing I'm
Pilot Club
doing.
329,
I'm
you
saying
up?
it all the time, and then the controllers reply Papa Alpha Alpha 295. So,
Alright,
that is
thank
what you do when you don't know an airline's
you
call
can
sign. You just
follow that
spell out the
145
three-letter code of
NA.
the airline. So you would just spell out Papa Alpha Alpha then, instead of saying Clipper if you don't know the Clipper call sign. But it does surprise me a little bit to see that. Oh, some more guys coming over here.
Alright, Pilot Club 711, turn left heading 265, the wind 310 at 16, runway 27 left at Sierra 3, clear for takeoff.
Left 265 and 27 left, clear for takeoff, Pilot Club 711.
Let's pre-select that. I guess we're gonna get the same clearance. So, how much have we burned? 1,100 tons already. Yeah, 1,100 tons. That would be quite bad. No, 1,100 pounds. It's quite a bit of fuel that we burned there. So he's going. That's good. Let's secure the position in line. He said we are going to be next, and I don't think we can fit anyone in front.
Alright, Pilot Club
anywhere.
711, the
Well,
wind
anyway, but
31016, turn
I
left
want to be
heading
100%
265.
sure that it's
Oh,
not
I
going to
couldn't
happen
take off
anyway.
already, didn't I?
Wouldn't be the first time that a Fatson pilot underestimates
Yep,
the
clear for
wingspan
takeoff,
of their
27
aircraft.
left and left 265, Pilot Club 711.
I'm sorry about that. I forgot to move your flight strip.
Alright, and... how far can we turn it? Well, not perfect, but at least it should be far enough that we don't blast the guys behind us. Yeah, that's alright. That's alright. Not perfect. I'm sure somebody with a bit more experience on the type would have been able to make this a perfect 90-degree angle turn, but I'm happy with it. And Nathaniel, nice to see you there. I'm the Sun 3 behind you.
Pilot Club 711, contact departure. Have a great flight.
So, departure for us is going to be 1284.
Envoy 1922, you're going to be next.
Understood. Doing the whole tour.
Hey, you said we were going to be next.
I need you to hold short because I'm building in trail spacing. I'm not allowed to line you up.
Okay, understood.
By the way, this, my friends, is exactly why they are slotting in Europe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Any more? 11. 11 aircraft at the holding point, yeah. That's exactly the reason why they are slotting in Europe. I actually wonder why they aren't doing it in the United States, because this is burning so much fuel. Like, now we've burned 1,200 pounds, and by the time we're airborne, probably 1,300, 1,400-ish. So, it's quite a waste of fuel. I wonder why they're doing it. Does anybody know that? And Unique Gamer in India, I flew with a new airline, Kaiser Air, in a Vatsim Dubai event, and I had to tell my call sign to each controller from ground to the center. Yeah, that's not surprising. And MPS Gaming, actually, Pan Am ceased operation in 1991 already, so that's been quite a while ago. I just thought it's such an iconic airline that that's the reason why I kind of expected everyone to know it still. In Germany, most of us still know airlines like Hapag-Lloyd, for example, or LTU. LTU is probably our equivalent to a Pan
Alright,
American.
Envoy 1922, turn left heading 265 to wind 31016, runway 27 left, cleared for takeoff.
And Simpson for some pilots, Americans like to waste in general.
Or 275, sir.
Well, you're American, you can say that.
Heading 265.
You're American, you can say that. If I'm saying that as a German, then people will exchange it.
The left turn 265 left. I might have said that wrong, sorry.
And Simpson for some pilots, several operators, single engine taxi out and or in. Yeah, I see why that makes sense. I totally see why that makes sense.
No, I mean the left turn to heading 265, not a right turn.
Left turn to 265, thank you.
So that's the Envoy going.
7 left. Pilot Club 15, Philly Tower. Hello, you're in the line.
Bye bye. So the departures can be right into the sun. This is the point where you could tell an experienced pilot from a non-experienced pilot. The experienced pilot would take out the sunglasses now. The non-experienced pilot would probably hold up the en route charts just after liftoff, just after rotation. So he's gone. That should hopefully be us next.
Philadelphia Tower. Pilot Club 14, 4479, radio check.
5x5. Envoy 1922, contact Philly departure, have a great flight.
Over to Philly departure, thank you. Have a good afternoon.
I wonder why he doesn't line us up yet. That is kind of what I would expect from most places except Spain.
And Clipper 295, you're going to be next.
295, we are ready all the time.
Pilot Club 329, you here?
Okay, so is that we're next?
Affirmative, 329.
Alright, Pilot Club 329, are you able to take Sierra 1 or do you need to taxi up to where all those planes are up there?
So
Yeah, I'm going to
we
taxi
have
up a little bit. I don't see as much here.
flaps out,
Alright, not a
speed
problem.
brake
You can
on,
proceed straight ahead, hold short Sierra 3 on Sierra.
and flick the weather radar on.
Up to holding short of Sierra 3 at Sierra at 5 Club 329.
By the way, he did just use the Clipper call sign, did he? Always good to hear. In Europe, we actually see quite a couple of Clippers on Watson every now and then. So that's always really nice. Especially when you have them with like correct equipment, like a 747, 200, 300. I don't actually remember if they had the 200, 300. Probably the 200 seeing the time when they existed. And the 100, of course. But you know, not like with a Concorde or with a 737-800.
Alright, Clipper 295, the wind 31016, turn left heading 265, runway 27 left at Sierra 3, clear for takeoff.
27 left at Sierra 3, clear for takeoff, and after departure left heading 265, Clipper 295. Alright.
Sorry, 295 heavy, my apologies.
295 heavy. Okay, cabin crew seats for departure, please, and before takeoff checklist below the line. Cabin secured, TCAS. There we go, good that we're doing it. Tara. Packs on, ignition off, anti-ice off, before takeoff check is complete. Timing. Of course, the sun's exactly where you can't shield it. Stabilized. Start takeoff thrust. Takeoff thrust, set indications normal, 100 knots. Ooh, we start feeling those gusts. V1. Rotate. You're up. Positive rates. Okay, heading 265.
Clipper 295, contact fully departure. You have a wonderful flight.
Over to departure, Clipper 295. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
And the approach
Okay. Acceleration.
United 1571 is going to be the ILS runway 27
0.
right.
7 right. 1571.
And United 1571 descend to maintain 6,000.
Slot 0.
Descend and maintain 6,000. 1571.
Maintain 220 initially. Regular departure, gate afternoon, Clipper 295 heavy, 1,700 on the heading 265.
Clipper 295 heavy, fully departure radar contact. Clear direct Medina, climb maintain 10,000.
Direct to Medina, climb maintain 10,000, Clipper 295 heavy. Okay, direct to Medina, that's Mike X-ray Echo.
Haven't seen a Clipper call sign in quite some time.
Well, good that we have one here now. That looks beautiful, doesn't it? Just as I'm looking outside, seeing the city, overturning my departure, but...
Clipper 295 heavy, contact New York Center, 132.17, have a good day.
132.17, Clipper 295, good day.
Yoke Center, American 514 with you, climbing out of flight level 190 for 300.
American 514, York Center, hello.
York Center, good afternoon. Clipper 295 Heavy, passing 65 for 10,000.
Last aircraft calling. Can you say what your call sign is again, please?
It's Clipper, Pan American Airways.
Clipper 295, York Center, hello. Climb maintain flight level 380.
Climb maintain level 380, actually request level 360, final Clipper 295.
Clipper 295, fine then. Climb maintain flight level 360.
Climb maintain flight level 360, Clipper 295. Okay, set.
And Envoy 1922.
Level 360 is checked after takeoff checklist.
Just make sure you keep
Flaps,
climbing.
retracted, landing gear up, neutral, packs on and holding at the altimeters.
Southwest 490 cross Drace at 10,000.
So let's try to get it right with the altimeters. I'm not used to having to reset the altimeters to standard that late, so anybody want to take some bets if I'm going to forget it or not? So, well, 10,000, lights are off, seatbelts off.
Club 826.
And we're just about going to keep those turn-off lights until 18,000.
Offline, racer, server, exchange group.
Over you get a con, Club 826. Thanks so much for being on this.
They,
Got to do a little bit more hand flying for as long as we can. But then I'll... Is anybody of you familiar if you actually have to use the autopilot above a certain altitude in the United States, or if you can just, you know, hand fly the entire thing all the way up to cruise and the entire flight? Because in Europe you need to put it on above level 245, so that means level 240 is about the latest where we would actually turn the autopilot on. But I wonder if that's the same in the United States, because normally everything is a little bit more relaxed here, isn't it? At least more relaxed than in Europe, which is not a particularly difficult thing. And Tron 1K, you can set standard when cleared at flight level, so you could do it now. Yeah, that's at least how we do it in my airline. I'm not 100% sure if they're doing it the same way in the US. I'm just about trying to get things right here. Probably will screw something up anyway, but we're still a learning environment here, are we? I mean, even in real life, we don't get everything 100% right all the time. Well, we do get the landing gear down 100% of the time, so that's something at least. But you know, minor mistakes, you just always make them. That's just why we're sitting up here with two people anyway.
1945.
Yep.
York Center, good afternoon. Pilot Club 217, 6,000 for 10,000, direct Medina.
So, I do have a feeling that I was going pretty much straight ahead only.
Flight level.
I might as well just put this on.
5240, Pilot Club 217.
Command 1.
Air France 585. Discard.
Metal Eye, when I would select
Air France 585,
flight and set the
maintain
time in UTC
14,000. The Harrisburg
the same as the
altimeter,
local time, no matter what I do and where I would start. Everyone know how to fix. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure how you would fix that.
Air France 585, I need your best rate through flight level 180, please.
7737 pilot, operator's liability insurance would likely dictate that for pack safety we use automation as much as possible, okay.
Fix at
So,
12,000.
we probably did the right thing in turning the autopilot on.
3028.
And 18,000, set standard. Passing flight level 179, climbing 360.
That's 3028
And we could
for Jet 680.
turn the turn-off lights off as well.
Apologies, 3028.
I still find it strange that, according to the Airbus flight crew operation manual, you can use the runway turn-off lights in substitute for the landing lights. But they will probably have done some research, and if they say that that's okay, then probably is okay. I mean, of course, with the landing lights being extended, they are like really huge things there, so can we actually see them somewhere down
American
there?
1951. New York Center, or Cleveland
Yeah,
Center
here they
offline.
are. I
Where's
mean,
your terminator?
imagine if these things are extended into the free flow of the air. That is really causing huge drag.
Yep.
Like in the 737, I'm just thinking about it. I believe it's like 3% extra fuel burn or something if you have a landing light fixed in the extended position. So it is really quite a difference there in terms of the fuel usage, if you have those lights out or not. In the end, in my airline, we always switch the retractable landing lights off immediately after retracting the landing gear. So we only keep the fixed landing lights that in the 737 are mounted into the wings turned on, which leads to saving 20 kilos of fuel per flight versus turning them off at flight level 100. So 20 kilograms of fuel times 3,000 flights that we do per day in high season, that's quite a bit of fuel there that you can save. And by the way, gorgeous looking aircraft, isn't it? The Americans will probably not agree seeing that this is an Airbus, but hey, we can't have it all, right? And Diabold, autopilot on an RVSM airspace, so above level 280. Thanks. And to Katri, good to know. I was wondering when to put those retractable lights up.
Yeah, 618,
well, now you know.
approach 119.85.
If you're wondering about any of the other lights, by the way, I did do a tutorial video on when we are using which lights. There have been quite a couple of comments below that tutorial video, especially from my American friends. Because apparently things are done a little different over here. And of course, some operators in Europe and the rest of the world are doing things a little different as well. But overall, that video could give you good guidance, at least a good basic guidance on what to use at what time. So, where's the sun now? We might just about get a sunset arrival. At least I'm hoping for it. Let's see, when are we gonna be there? Estimated arrival 2200, so in an hour and 6 minutes. Yeah, we might just about make it. We might just about make it before the sunset. That's good. That's really good. Well, that headwind here, that is not good. 93 knots. Earlier today, when I had to tidy my room up a little bit and everything, I did do the return flight from yesterday's trip to Boston, and yesterday I believe we flew like 6.5 hours or something like that, and the way back today was just 5 hours and 16 minutes, which is incredible for flying Boston to Cologne. 5 hours and 16 minutes. So when I've been flying that though, I've had that wind directly in the back, so the ground speeds have been in excess of 600 knots.
585, contact some approach.
Well, I guess on this one it's going to be pretty much the opposite way around. But this time of the year, those jet streams over the US are pretty much normal. So, what did I even expect? Black Cobra, is it true that you have to set the trim to 0 units for de-icing with engines running on a 737? No, that's not true at all. You are setting it to the takeoff setting, or you're using 5
American
units.
514, left 240.
Now, I did notice that in...
514, A firm, this is for sequencing.
I did notice that
to the left,
a couple of other operators are using some different units there on the stabilizer trim. But most airlines are using something between 3 and 5 units, because that is the position where it mostly shields those internals in the tailplane off, so that no de-icing fluid can run into it.
Can you confirm whether we were cleared from level 240 or 340?
Just a quick check down on cruise level. Optimum 365, maximum 360.
340,
So yeah, 360 is definitely the best cruise for us.
Code 145. See ya.
Over to advisory with see you later, Pilot Club 145.
Also keep in mind with the 737 on the ground,
York
you
Center,
can't
Pilot Club 69,
automatically trim it further
9,000,
down than 4 units. So at 4 units the auto trim is going to quit its work, or rather the electric trim is going to quit its
Pilot
work.
380, Pilot Club 69.
Pilot Club 69, clear direct Penn T.
Direct Patsy, Pilot Club 69.
Cloud action. What should the airline pilot do if he's flying manually at a good speed but slightly above the glide slope? Know the lows to catch the glide slope or reduce the power a bit? Is the technique different from general aviation? So I don't know which general aviation technique you have learned, but normally what I would do is get some extra drag out and then get the airplane to intercept the glide slope like that. So if you're flying at a good speed, just confirm to me, do you mean a high speed or do you mean a good speed as in appropriate to what you're doing? And safer, almost 3,000 feet a minute at 497 knots airspeed. What's your gross weight? Down here we are at 264,000 pounds gross weight. So I'm actually fairly, well, not surprised about that rated climb. And it's mostly in the region between 2 and 2,500 here. But that doesn't really surprise me. Keep in mind the 310 is designed as a long-haul airliner, so it can do 11-hour flights. So if we're doing a flight that's like an hour and 20, even with full passengers and a couple of thousand pounds of cargo on top of the luggage, then it doesn't surprise me that it's climbing this good. That really doesn't
Pilot Club
surprise me.
217, request step off flight deck for 3 Mike.
Alright, vertical speed, 1,000. And we have almost one to go.
American 514, turn right heading 285.
Right to 285 for American 514.
Pilot Club 711, grab a slushy, see you later.
Safer, just keep in mind, by the way,
Roger, going to
that,
Unicam, Pilot Club 711, see ya!
We've been doing like 2,500 feet a minute-ish here, but when you're doing that, especially at the high levels, but also at the low levels, keep in mind that you reduce your vertical speed as you're approaching a level of altitude. So in my company, we are using a maximum of 3,000 feet a minute when we're 3,000 feet to go to the cleared altitude. A maximum of 2,000 and 2,000 and 1,000 and 1,000. According to Airbus, for the last, or rather according to ICAO, I believe, for the last, is it 1,000 feet to the cleared altitude, you should do a maximum of 1,500 feet a minute. But either way, it is important to reduce your vertical speed in order to avoid nonsense TCAS RAs. So if any of you has, well, we're doing a stream in America, so probably not, but if any of you has seen that Pilot's ITV episode on the Swiss A330 flying to Miami, and there you will see that they're descending somewhere down into Miami, and all of a sudden they get a traffic warning, or rather a traffic caution. And the reason for that was, even though they were well separated from any other aircraft,
New York Center,
they've been descending at like 1,800 to 2,000 feet a minute or so at that point, and someone else was climbing really fast as well. And that's how the TCAS determined, well, I only have, what was it? I only have 40 seconds to go till a possible impact, so I'm going to give a traffic caution now. And then the thing started screaming, traffic. Even though they've been totally separated. And Steven, 7-Eleven, grab a Slurpee. Yeah, that's what I love about ATC in the US. They know that language, and they have all those cool sayings all the time. Now, yesterday when I flew that flight out of Cologne, I said something like, "Oh boy, always does a Düsseldorf, they're never online, hate them." And they took it really personal. They took it really personal, like if I would have said, "Oh, you're idiots, I hate you guys." Now,
thank you.
I wasn't meant like it at all, but it just goes to show that the differences in English language can also be quite a thing there. So they understood it in a totally different way. Now that's probably something that I should have thought about from the beginning on as a pilot, because those cultural differences and language barriers are really quite a bit of a thing, especially in my airline, because we have pilots from, I don't want to say all around the world, but when I started we had a couple of Brazilians and South Americans in the parallel typewriting courses, because we had just been hiring down there. They've been put into some of the Spanish bases, mostly flying part-time, part-time for us means 5 days working, 13 days off. So they commuted from South America to work in Europe then, and probably still earn more money than a couple of their local airlines would have paid them. But yeah, cultural differences really are a bit of a thing there, and I just love the American way of flying and the American, you know, the overall approach they do to ATC. It's so totally different to what we are doing in Europe, especially in Germany. You know, in Germany everything has to be dead serious all the time on VATSIM. It's not that bad in real life, by the way, but on VATSIM everything has to be dead serious all the time. And sometimes they even call you supervisor for when you're making a personal comment like, "Hi Luke, nice to see you here." Now, imagine that. That wouldn't happen in real life, by the way. In real life, they mostly laugh about it, if they go to comment at all. So, cloud action, good speed means proper speed. Okay, so, what do you do when you're flying above a glide slope? You are at a proper airspeed, and you're flying manually. So, if you're flying manually or not doesn't really play a role here, but what actually plays the role, that is, okay, just reading your second comment there, do airline pilots do pitch for airspeed, power for altitude? And no, we don't do that at all, it's the other way around. So, it's pitch for altitude, power for airspeed. That's the only way how you can maintain a glide slope all the way down to the IFR minimums. That wouldn't be possible if you're doing it the other way around. Okay, so to answer your question, the normal thing when you're flying at a decent airspeed, of course it depends a little bit. Let's say, for example, you're 10 miles out and you are getting a little bit higher on the glide slope, let's say a dot high or something. If you're 10 miles out doing 160 knots, so you're at the Flap 5 speed, then I would just push the nose down and catch that glide again. Do watch your rate of descent though. In my airline we're not supposed to do more than 1,500 feet a minute when we're catching up with the glide slope, and we have to have it captured by 4 miles in VMC or 5 miles in IMC. And as said, it doesn't really matter if you're doing it on autopilot or by hand, but when I'm above the glide slope and I do have reserves in airspeed, then I would just go 1,500 feet a minute and catch the glide back again. Now if we're going a little bit faster, if we're going, let's say, 200 knots, then I would consider getting the speed brake out, or if we are in flap 5, I would probably consider going to flap 10 if we are not flying a short field aircraft, so then we'd go down a little bit quicker.
Radar contact, 25
so that's the way that I would do it. But if you're at a good speed, you know, gaining 10 extra knots, of course it depends a bit on the situation. You could do that. When you're closer to the runway already, when you're 5 miles out, you probably wouldn't want to get those that extra speed, but as said, it comes down a little bit to comes a little bit down to the pilot discretion and pilot experience with the aircraft as well.
Envoy 1922.
Stephen, I got yelled at by long radar and VATSIM when I told the controller tschüss. Yeah, that's what I just meant. US is. I like them better for flying. I like them better. Unfortunately, they're mostly online when I'm well asleep already. That's why I really appreciate the event today, because over here it's currently 10 p.m. So over here it's currently 10 p.m. but Clipper 295, confirm frequency change approved.
Affirm. See ya.
Thanks, see ya. Alright, 22.8 unfortunately, but hopefully not for that long.
That's 5522, New York Center.
I had a situation once where someone said contact Unicom 122.8, and then they had an Aeroflot that called in like, Unicom, Aeroflot 123, flight double 360. Of course nobody answered, and he tried that again and again, and eventually, Unicom, Aeroflot 123, please, come in. That was so funny. At that point, somebody then wrote in a little text like, hey, this is Unicom, you won't get an answer here. But that was really funny. George, hello my captain. Did you find out what the push and pull on the buttons on the MCP do? Yeah, partially. Actually, I think mostly. Let's go for it. So we have the speed button. You can pull that one out. That brings you into selected speed. So it will change the vertical mode as well. So we've been in profile, we pushed it out, and it went into speed and altitude. Let's go back to profile. If we push that one in, then actually nothing happens. Let's see, can we? No, okay. On the ground, when you have set your airspeed and you're pushing that one in, you will get that preset here illuminated. And with that, you can pre-select the speed for the climb. And when you're actually climbing and not using profile mode and you pull it out again, then that preset speed is just going to become active. Then the altitude knob. If you push that one in, it changes between rotating it in thousands or in hundreds, like you can see now. By the way, let's go back to profile mode. The heading, if you push it in, it synchronizes the heading with the current heading. So I've just turned it away a little bit, as we can see down here. And if I'm pushing that one in, it synchronizes the heading, so now we're getting back to 280. If you're pulling it out, it changes into heading select mode, just like it would on the A320, for example. But we will go back to nav. Vertical speed, push it in, nothing, pull it out, gives you a vertical speed. Well, you know, that's how these things go. And I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all that these buttons do. Cloud action. Can you make a video about catching glide slope from above? Or maybe can you do it on this flight? Probably not on this flight because, well, it might happen inadvertently, of course, but I'd rather not do it on this flight because I'm not that 100% familiar with the A310 yet. So if I can by any means avoid it, then I certainly will, and I'll just catch the glide slope as normal. Captain Steve. Hello, Captain. Fantastic stream yesterday. Quick question. What makes you decide to, if you are going to engage an autoland? Is it based on weather condition, and how late do you make the decision to engage it? Okay, Steve. So, autolands, there are three primary reasons for us doing autolands on line flying. The first of them, of course, is weather. So if the weather is below the Cat 1 minima, then you have to do an autoland. Also, if the weather is getting very close to the Cat 1 minima, then I would always favor an autoland above a manual landing, just because it avoids unnecessary go-arounds. Then, the second point why you might want to do an auto landing is because the aircraft might have undergone some maintenance that invalidated its autoland certification. So, for example, when the MCP is exchanged or when a radio is exchanged, then the aircraft loses its Cat 3 certification and it has to do an auto landing in good weather conditions as a practice autoland, so to say, which is then used to verify that the airplane still does these things properly, and then the aircraft can regain its Cat 3 certifications. So that's the second action. In those cases, you are doing the autoland when you're actually in a VMC, so when you could at any moment take over manually. Officially, that is not a Cat 3 approach then, by the way. That is still a Cat 1 approach, but you are just using the autoland functionality for that. Be aware that you can do this without the airport actually having everything prepared for Cat 3 operation. But you have to be aware that if there is something within the obstacle-free zone, that you might get glide slope or localizer interference, so you need to be prepared to disconnect the autopilot at any moment something happens. The third situation in which we might do an autoland is actually for training purposes. So, in order to maintain our low visibility certifications, we have to do at least one monitored approach and one autoland per 6 months. So prior to each simulator, prior to each recurrent simulator, we have to do at least one monitored approach and one autoland. And then, of course, in line training it's also done regularly. And maybe the last situation in which we would do an autoland is if we have a pilot incapacitation. So if one pilot is incapacitated, then that would certainly be an argument for you to do an auto land, because it just gives you that little bit more freedom as a pilot, that you don't have to focus that much on the approach, but you can monitor the airplane flying the approach, and you just have a little bit better overall situational awareness if you're not so much focused on doing the approach yourselves. So I think that's pretty much the situation when we're doing auto lands. Well, there is one last situation which of course does happen in real life, even though it's not supposed to, and that is when the entire crew is just so tired at the end of the day, especially when it's more than 12 hours flight duty time, landing at some point 3 or 4 o'clock at night. You feel so tired, then yeah, you might do an auto land out of that as well. Of course that shouldn't happen, but it does. And cloud action. Does your airline use idle reverse thrust to save fuel? Yes, absolutely. Of course, that is brake energy permitting. So we do the mathematics, we check how long our brake cooling time is going to be in case we use idle reverse, and we check how long it is going to be in case we use second detent reverse thrust. And if the brake cooling time permits with idle reverse, and if there are no safety factors speaking against it, then we use idle reverse whenever we can. Do note, however, with the 25-minute turnarounds that we normally do, brake cooling is very often a limiting factor, especially when you're flying to warmer countries like Italy and Spain. So when the temperatures are above 20 degrees, things start getting a little close there to the limits, so we might just about have to use a second detent reverse then, so that the brakes can cool sufficiently prior to the next takeoff. And Michael, hello to Syracuse. Hope I pronounced it correctly. Captain Steve, thank you very much for sending me a coffee. That is much appreciated. Do note, by the way, that the Super Chat here in YouTube is enabled as well now. So if you don't want the hassle of going to buymeacoffee.com, then you can just use the Super Chat here in YouTube as well. It might actually be worth explaining that for a short moment. You can see I've got this paying the landing fees banner up here on the top right, which is basically that is the money that's collected through the Super Chat only. So anything going through Buy Me a Coffee, which is equally appreciated by the way, but anything going through Buy Me a Coffee is not going into that bar up on the top right there, so don't be surprised if you don't see that, or if you don't see the increase. But anything going up there is the money that I'm using to pay, for example, for new add-ons. So when we are flying to Boston, then I'm trying to use as many add-ons as possible. So our departure from Philadelphia just now was probably one of the very few departures you're ever going to see on my channel where we don't have like a good quality payware scenery installed. So I am very much trying to give you the highest possible or the best possible content with the best looking graphics. So whenever we are flying to a new place, I am purchasing the add-ons in question, and that's what I'm using those landing fees on that we can see on the top right there. So that is kind of how I'm trying to run the channel. I try to have a look at as many add-ons as possible, and of course there are YouTubers who are just writing every developer like, hey, can I get a review copy, and can I get a free copy of an add-on? But I'm not doing that, so I'm normally trying to purchase those add-ons, at least when they are in good quality. If they are not so good quality, well, I normally just avoid them. But if they are not so good quality, I might just approach the developer for a free copy. But I don't like doing that. In my opinion, it just doesn't feel right, if you know what I mean. Captain Steve, £5 donation. Thank you so much for that, and you're welcome with the Autoland answer. Yeah, so I'm trying to buy those add-ons as much as possible, and that's what I'm using those landing fees on that we can see on the top right there. So the bar is set to €70 because that normally is sufficient to get you the departure and the destination. And whenever something is subtracted, it's going down, then that's how it works. So I think it might just have been worth actually explaining that, because I did have a couple of people who thought about, well, what are you actually doing with that, and where's that coming from, and what's taking into it. So there you have it. That's how I'm trying to run the channel. And after all, it might be something that a couple of you are actually interested in, because it's a topic that I barely see covered at all. And that is, can you actually earn money by YouTubing? Can you earn money through live streaming? And the honest answer to that is, at least I am pretty much ending out even. So with all the money that I invest into the channel, for example via buying those add-ons, and the income that's coming from the donations, from the super chat, from Buy Me a Coffee, from Patreon, that pretty much breaks even at the end of the month. And of course there is the money from the ads that you guys see, because YouTube is bringing those up anyway, and then I'm thinking, well, then I might as well take the 50% or something that YouTube might give you there. So it pretty much breaks even at the end of the month. At least that's what my channel is doing. So I had one guy saying the other day that, well, you are only doing that for the money, are you? And no, absolutely not. For the money, I would earn a lot more if I went to my airline and I told them, hey, do you have a couple of flights on my off days? The time invested is probably the same, but my airline would pay me quite a bit more than YouTube would. So I think I can speak for all YouTubers that we are pretty much doing it out of passion and not because you would be earning any money from it. And to be honest, I think I'm probably the first guy who actually talked about that. Because normally with other YouTubers it really seems to be like a topic that's not talked about very much. But as I said, I'm trying to be as open as possible. It does backfire sometimes, like yesterday with the guys at Düsseldorf, but overall, I think being open with things like these can be important as well, right? And Ducati, well, those plane spotting channels are certainly raking it in. Yeah, I'm not going to comment on any fellow YouTubers in these terms, but yeah. And Michael, how does the salary range compare in Europe versus the United States? At the moment the United States are paying quite a bit better again, but there used to be a time where that wasn't the case. So Europe, in terms of pilot salaries, is basically in a race to the bottom. Airlines like Wizz Air, like Ryanair, etc., they are still trying to bring the salaries even down lower. And eventually at some point the big airlines have to follow suit. So to give you a couple examples, a Wizz Air pilot based in Italy earns something in the region of about 40 to 45,000 euros gross per year. In Germany, most pilots end up somewhere in the region of about 50, 60, 70,000. Talking about first officers, by the way. So that's normally for first officers. And then if you're bringing it up to a captain's level, then you can normally take twice the first officer's salary. So that's what you're getting in Europe. Now in the US, for the past decade or so, for first officers, it's been a bit of a problem. If you haven't, for example, if you didn't come from the military and went into one of those main carriers, but if you ended up with a regional, then you probably got even less money than in some European countries. Now that is changing, however, because nowadays the United States is really running into a pilot shortage for different reasons, but the fact is that they have these shortages. So in the US you now even get sign-on bonuses, and the salary itself is really going up at the moment. So they are pretty much on the right way, while Europe is always like 20 years behind the US on when you're talking about aviation. So when Europe is behind the US there, that basically means that if we look at the US 20 years ago, that's round about where the pilot salaries really started to fall. So that can be a bit of an issue. And the question now is, how far can the airlines take it in Europe before that is going to backfire? So we have seen major strikes even at the low-cost airlines in 2017, 2018. We have also seen quite some rumors this year already, even though there was still the COVID factor in that made most of the people say like, nah, I'll just take the, let's say, a little bit more careful approach. So these things have still been going on, and it's not been... Well, in Europe things are currently approaching a turning point where the question is, can the airlines really establish the low salaries, and are people going to be happy with it, or will things backfire as soon as COVID is over? Now, at least here in Germany over this year, we did see quite an increase in the terms and conditions offered in German airlines. So many airlines have increased salaries by like 15 or 20% this year. But of course not all airlines. So for example, Ryanair didn't do anything about the salaries. And in fact, Ryanair is just about negotiating a deal with the union where they want to fix the pre-COVID salary until 2026, I believe. Which, taking inflation into account, is effectively a 25% reduction in actual pay. So, you know, but other airlines, Condor, for example, has really stood out there. Condor just went ahead and, without the union even asking for it, increased their pilot salaries by 10% to compensate for inflation this year. So that was really good. Other airlines, however, did some really good increases as well. So, for example, Eurowings Discover increased salary by almost 25%. Eurowings themselves increased a couple percent as well. So overall, things are definitely, at least in German airlines, starting to get better. But that was prior to the recession that we're facing now due to the political situation. So things are a little bit on the verge here. The question is, can the airlines who pay worse now keep sufficient pilots so that they actually do end up with... can they keep sufficient pilots so that they can continue their operation, or are those people just all running away? And Michael, I think even regional FOs are easily getting around to 100,000 per year gross in the US. And Sim 737 pilot, no, 50k if you're really lucky and start at a major airline right after a right seat of non-regional. Yeah, I guess it really depends a bit. There are a couple offers slowly coming up for European pilots to come over to the US, and they're in the region of about $50,000-$60,000, but with a sign-on bonus of like 20 or 30,000. So things are a little bit developing there. MPS Gaming, it's not going so well for Scandinavian Airlines company. Saved many times not to be bankrupt. Yeah, I heard about that as well, that they just barely avoided bankruptcy this year. Now, that's something, you know. And Ducati, I suppose not every airline can be Alaska Airlines. Are they paying that good? I'm not too much into the US pilot market, so I'm not 100% sure who pays best there. I would kind of have expected that American, United, Southwest. I know Southwest is really good. They are one of the favorite employers in terms of pilots. I know that, so Southwest seems to be really good. But the rest of them I don't really know. Of course the majors are better than the regionals, that's out of question. But yeah. Well, I'm talking so much, so where are we actually? 200 miles out from the top of descent. Might just about be a good time to actually look into the arrival and what we can actually expect. And Matthias, yes, I'm German, that's correct. So let's go over to those Navigraph charts and have a look into the arrival. Stefan, where are we? Comforting words to hear from the cockpit. Yeah, always, always. Yeah, well, not all that familiar here. So in Europe, when I'm flying above the VOR, I tend to say I know where pretty much any VOR is nowadays. So, you know, in Europe, of course it's a difference still if you're sitting in a real airplane or if you're sitting in Flight Simulator. In the real airplane, you know, you know where you are all the time. But over here in the US, you know, It's always good having a look into the charts when you are not 100% sure. So now comes the big question. How do you pronounce that arrival? How do you pronounce that? Syncopate? I have absolutely no idea. And Sim 737 pilot, how do you get the aircraft icon in Navigraph Charts 8? Basically you will have to click on this one up here and turn the moving maps on. And that means turn on Simlink on your... yeah, you have to start Simlink from Navigraph as an external client. And then you can turn those moving maps on by clicking on here and then up here. That's how you do it. And Stephen Hayner, Snake Pit 2 versus George Sink Pit. Well, I guess I'll go with Snake Pit. I guess I go with Snake Pit. Alright, so we're coming from Rinty. That means Rinty, Jeter. Let's use the moment to trust check the FMC, make sure everything is actually working as designed. So we have air to Rinty, then Jeter above level 240, that is in. Dotty below flight level 230, that's in as well. A dot key. From there on we go to Snake Pit between 14,000 and 190, which is in here. Then on the Bapney between 11.5 and 15. That's in as well. Seacook. One of those waypoints again. And then where are we going to go next? What's the weather doing over there? (230) at 5, few clouds in 12,000, minus 1 degree, 3038. Wow, that's cold. That's cold. But well, 230, so we're probably going to go straight in here via circle, I guess. Runway 23, left, right, see inside. Okay, so let's have a look at that inside. So from Sisu, or whatever that's called, we go to Fango between 8 and 9,000, which we do have. Then on to Racing for the right runway, or Larry for the left runway. 210 knots above 5,000, and Racing 210 above 5,000. Okay. That does look quite good to me. And let's see. I need the chart for 23 left, I need the chart for 23 right. Let's have a look at the right one first. So we have Racing, driver, checkered. How do you pronounce that one? So Racing at 5,000, driver at 4,000, checkered at 2,600, and we're going down to a minimum of 983, so we'll make that 990 down here, and in here 983. Probably going to use flaps 30 due to the high gross weight. Now, that doesn't look right. Landing weight 569.1. No, definitely not. That thing's not calculating correctly here. Well, and then 11175 and 230 on the courses. All right. I think that's pretty much it. So at least we have a plan now, at least we have an idea now of what we can expect. All the time going to a new airport, it's certainly a good idea to... it's always a good idea just to have a look there. And Steven, US arrival names are the best. If you ever want to love flying to Denver on the Flat 3 or Logger 3, well, go to Detroit on the KISS 2 arrival where we're flying over Tinder. I like that one. I don't know why, but in my airline, in the EFB, we do have a couple of charts for the US, and one captain showed me once into Detroit the KISS 2 arrival via Tinder. Well, somewhere they have like a Yellow Roads ANAF arrival. I don't remember where that one actually was, but you literally follow waypoints like Yellow Road Air or something like that. Don't remember the exact names. And Illa01, are you type rated for the 787? No, unfortunately not. And Matthias, nice, someone from Germany doing a live stream, mostly 737-800. I really like the videos and learning a lot, thanks. Well, thank you very much, Matthias. It's a pleasure. And Michael, American Eagle is hiring at a starting pay of $90 an hour, and if you assume 75 hours a month, that's 81,000. It really depends on how many hours you can get, probably. Yeah, I guess so. In my airline, they are giving out the salary tables based on 850 block hours per month, and we get paid by the block hour. And did it say 850 hours per month? Yeah, that's probably what they wish. No, 850 per year. But the truth is, we normally do something around 700 or 750 hours. So, well. And contact me, Indianapolis Center, 119.55.
For departure cargo that is filed, maintain 5,000, step level 36010 in session departure. Departures this frequency, squawk 6771.
Roger, Delta 1009, we are cleared to Atlanta filed via the cargo for departure. Cargo will climb and maintain 5,000 after departure. Expect flight level 360. Departure is going to be on this frequency and we will squawk 6771.
Delta 1059, readback's correct. Push and start at your discretion. Calling for taxi, Louisville altimeter 3041.
I will call ready for taxi.
Indianapolis Center, good afternoon. Clipper 295 Heavy, Throttle 360 in Monbridge.
Clipper 295 in center hello, squawk ident.
Squawk ident, Clipper 295. So, squawking ident, for those who might not be familiar what that is, basically it flashes your transponder signal on the controller screen, so he does,
Pilot Club 820.
depends a little bit on the exact setup that the controllers are using, both in real life and in Flight Simulator. Usually it either flashes your call sign.
Descend via the Snake Pit 2 arrival, Indianapolis landing southwest.
Alright, so it is called Snake Pit.
3038.
Descend via the Snake Pit 2, Pilot Club 6.
East Coast Canadian, hi, nice to see you here. Going pretty well, I'd say. And Hans van Gulden, not very practical for streaming, but do you fly VR a lot when you're not streaming? The honest answer to that is no, not all that much.
295, radar contact, 5 miles south of Newcomer Sound, level 360. Clipper 295, say your Mach number.
Clipper 295, Mach 0.8.
Clipper 295, maintain Mach 0.77 per sequence, state of Indianapolis.
0.77, Clipper 295. Alright, that's about as low as it gets, so if this gets any turbulent, then we'll just increase it again straight away. What's that doing?
Envoy 1922.
You see that, well, it's true on the speed indicator that jumping. Funny. Oh, I thought this was just a texture, but how can it be jumping then? Small little things.
Pilot Club 145, say your Mach number.
Mach 0.78, Pilot Club 145.
Pilot Club 145, reduce speed Mach 0.74.
So Hans, about using VR, actually when I'm not streaming, I'm not using it too much, because the vast majority of flights I do in the simulator are, you know, a little bit longer so that I can do stuff while I'm en route. And then using VR would just not be very helpful. Apart from that, I do have a little bit of problem with the performance in VR, so I would probably just need to invest a little bit more time into it. But overall, I don't know, I just couldn't get 100% happy with VR yet. And one of the big problems I'm facing is that I just can't get things to look, well, I just can't get them to look crisp. In the 737, for example, the displays will always be very hard, if not impossible, to read, regardless of what I do about it. Now, of course, I might be a little bit, well, influenced by real life, and that in real life everything is just a bit sharper than it is in VR. But even when I went to the FS weekend in Lelystad and I was offered to try a VR set over there, then things just wouldn't be 100% crisp. And I don't know, that just didn't feel right, if you know what I mean.
Is that for Envoy 1922?
Envoy 1922, yep, sorry.
And Warthog AU24, what are people's obsessions with chemtrails?
Thank you, Envoy 1922.
Well, you know, looking out here, we might certainly need to bring out a couple more chemtrails, because there is literally zero weather going on at all. I mean, it can't go that people start thinking on their own, right? So we should probably bring out a couple more chemtrails. Okay, American 5 is slowly coming in.
Chicago's offline register is terminated for exchange supervisors approved.
Let's go ahead and Canali, probably too many people using cap busters today. Yeah, probably. Alright, let's go ahead and do a quick approach briefing. Congrats for the arrival. Not that familiar with the airport, and that's pretty much it. So we are just going to take things slow once again. For the taxi, it doesn't look all that complicated on the navigation chart, but I guess we'll only know once we actually get there. So we'll just take it slow, we'll take it careful, and that is probably going to be just about it. We're parking at the passenger terminal, so when they ask us about where we're going to park, we'll just tell them something over there, and that should pretty much be it. Then let's have a look into the FOC and what we actually prepared over there. So that's our arrival. Snake Pit 2.
Pilot Club 145, descend via Snake Pit 2 arrival, Indianapolis landing southwest.
And then we have Rinty Jetter.
Copy altimeter, descend via the Snake Pit 2 arrival, landing southwest, Pilot Club 145.
Seacoop, Pendular Racing. And after that, we'll see where we're actually going to go. For now, plant is the ILS approach from runway 23 right up here, which is chart 11-5, effective 29th of March 2018. Frequency triple 1.75, active final approach plus 230 in. Minimum 983, we have the clock set at 990 up here. Yep, that's good. Then Racing 5000, driver 4000, circuit at 2600, 3-degree glide slope, and down to the minimums in case we have to go around down to 1,500 feet, 1,500, and climbing right turn to 3,000, direct Victor Hotel Papa VR, now plan radio 303 to Kitty, so that's 303 to Kitty, and hold, so 3,000 feet initial, and we'll put the Brickyard VR active up here. That's going to be Victor Hotel Papa. Why is that doing anything? Here we go, that's better. So Victor Hotel Papa, Victor Hotel Papa. And that's pretty much all that we need for this. For the approach, minimum 983 is in here. We're gonna do config 3040 landing.
Delta 1059.
And that is actually selected on the GPWS.
Bravo.
Down here. Well hit that switch. In case we do actually manage to land, 23 right. We're probably gonna vacate at Bravo 7, so auto brakes low should be sufficient for that. Then via Bravo and Tango. Somewhere to the ramp up here. I guess we're probably parking somewhere from this Bravo up here. Bravo 15, Bravo 13, Bravo 14. That looks like gates with a suitable wingspan for us. So I hope that that's actually going to cover us. Apart from that, don't really have anything. Any questions on the approach briefing? Michael, it's
Indianapolis Center.
It's cold out
American
in a lot of the US, so people are probably inside due to cold chemicals are short supply, so they're limited in use. Yeah, that's the way to see it. That's the way to see it. Ahmad, how do you get frame rate so good in the A310? Well, I am using the beta version. So, if you opt into the beta program, they did quite a bit of improvements on the beta stuff there already. So that did certainly increase my frames a lot. Now, it's still not quite perfect, but it's quite a bit better. And a couple of people asked me on how to actually opt into that beta program, so just depending on the version you're using, I'm using the Steam version, and if I go into the Steam client and right click on Microsoft Flight Simulator, go into the properties, then in there I can opt in into the beta program. Just be aware that it's always a good idea to read up on the exact conditions there, because I do remember there is one condition that states if you have your simulator installed on a certain path, and I don't remember which one that is, so you might just about have to Google that yourself. But if that simulator is installed on a certain path, then it might be necessary to actually reinstall the entire simulator when the beta update becomes public. So,
landing southwest and out
personally, I have not installed the simulator in its standard path, but I've installed it in a custom path on the D drive. And I've never had any problems with reinstallations after a beta became public, so for me it was always just download the remaining files and that's it. But actually I'm not aware of anybody, as far as I know, who's ever had that reinstallation problem. But I guess it won't come from anywhere.
Pilot Club 145, maintain 25.
So Gravis from 111, Hi Commander, where can I find the A310 update? That's basically as I just explained. You have to opt into the beta program for the Microsoft Flight Simulator. And when you're in the beta program, then you're gonna get it. I believe it's the base simulator version 1.29.29 that includes the 310
Pilot
beta.
Club 6, Indianapolis approach 124.65, yeah.
2465, thank you, Pilot Club.
So you bought FS 2020 in the Xbox store. With that, you'll just about have to Google. I only know it for the Steam version because that's the version I'm using. So you might have to Google for that, but it is there somewhere, even though I don't know exactly where.
RNAV Wayne, quick pick up 178,
And Ahmad, do you know when the beta is going to become an official release? No, unfortunately I don't.
Southwest 2056, Washington Center, now 133.72.
So that's something, IndyBuilds did release a statement about that somewhere, that they don't know about when that's going to become public either. So I'm afraid that's all that I can actually say on that topic.
Indianapolis Center, Pilot Club 4479 checking in, 6 miles east of the Charlie Tango.
Second time then. Earlier today I did the return flight after yesterday's charity stream, so I flew back from Boston to Cologne. Nice 5 hour 16 flight. Incredible, that wind. and it can go so fast. I mean, I've done longer flights in the 737, and I'm thinking that I could have covered the distance all the way from Boston in that time. That's an incredible thought, isn't it?
Pilot Club 4479.
The world, after all, isn't all that big.
Current Mach number is
Anyway,
0.814479.
Pilot Club 7749, maintain Mach 0.7.
What was I about to say? I think I just about forgot.
0.77 for sequence.
Ahmad, love your videos, learned so much with them. I'll have to go now. Have a nice day. Well, thank you very much, Ahmad. It's been a pleasure. See you around. So, what do we have there on the T-cars? Off to the left, around about the same altitude.
Pilot Club 826, contact in
There he is.
approach 124.65.
By the way, seeing him all the way up here, just think about this is probably actually the altitude at which we're traveling then. If you look at that over the horizon, it's always very easy, when you're looking for an airplane that's supposed to be at your altitude, it's always very easy to look down at the horizon line. But actually you have to look quite a bit above that, like somewhere over here right now. But that is the actual altitude that we are flying. Now, if you don't have a head-up display installed, there's a little trick there that you can use in order to determine where the horizon line would actually be at your altitude. And that is if you take a bottle of water and you hold that one up in front of you and you move it to a way where the surface of the water is just about level, so where you don't see either the top or the bottom of that water surface, and then that line is where your horizon is, or rather that line is where your actual altitude is. I always find that an amazing thought that I'm doing every now and then when we are flying along, just to visualize how high we are actually flying above the horizon. But it just becomes so easy when you are looking outside, like, oh yeah, this is where I'm going. No, like, this is where I'm going.
Indianapolis Center, passing 11,000 for 13,000 American flight.
It's really helpful as well when you're determining if you are going to overfly any CBs or any bad weather. And Graviscon, the
Southwest 124, traffic, you're 12 o'clock, about 20 miles, level 380737
As
westbound.
far as I'm aware, the VNAV issues have not yet been fixed.
Pilot
But
Club 69, traffic, you're 11 o'clock, about 20 miles south.
They did quite a bit of improvement on VNAV, as far as I recall. Have a look into my A310 update released video. In there I covered the changelog. I don't remember it all off my heart right now. But VNAV certainly isn't perfect yet, so I'm still having issues with it. I'm definitely still having issues with it every now and then. And East Coast Canadian. Does the latest beta work fine with PMDG and all the rest? Yep, to date it does. In fact, I'm really surprised with
234 Hotel Foxtrot.
In fact, I'm really surprised that with all the versions of Microsoft Flight Simulator that have been released, especially the Sim Update 11 and the 40th Anniversary Edition, that is the very first update where I have not noticed any major new bugs introduced. So, in fact, it's been the smoothest update that I have seen in the history of Microsoft Flight Simulator so far. Like, I'm flying with it, there are no problems, well, no major problems, or at least no major new problems introduced. The 310 works pretty fine, not perfect, but pretty good.
Southwest 2052, Washington Center, 133.
So, I'm very happy with Sim Update 11. In my opinion, it's probably the best update that has been released so far for Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Pilot Club 2349, contact Indianapolis approach 124.65.
And Ahmad,
2465, thanks for
welcome
help.
back first of all. Since you're an airline pilot, do you sometimes enjoy doing general aviation flying in real life? Yeah, I do.
2465, Pilot Club 145, see you later.
Just this summer I went to
1922
the local flight school at the place where I've been in summer holidays and did a little bit of general aviation flying over there. So it is really nice still. I mean, it's just a totally different way of flying if you're flying like a Aquila, a Cessna, a Piper, or a 737. After all, the 737 kinda does fly like those airplanes, but it's still an entirely different beast.
340, that'll be my final one.
Westwind 23, or correction, 3293, 300.
Traviscon 111, what is top minus 30? Well, SimPilot 737, sorry, Sim 737 pilot already answered true air temperature, but let me just go ahead and explain that one a tiny bit more. So, up here on the cruise page you can see the static air temperature of minus 56 degrees. And the static air temperature is the temperature that we would have in the free airflow outside of our airplane. Now the true air temperature of minus 30 up here is affected, it's basically the static air temperature from outside, affected by the heat of the friction of the airplane going through that air at a speed of currently 439 knots. So as you can imagine, when you have friction coming up somewhere, that is always turning into heat. And that's why the temperature on the surface of the airplane, where all the probes are located, is 26 degrees warmer right now than the static air temperature outside. So that's why the temperature on the surface of the aircraft is a little bit warmer than the temperature outside in still air.
Envoy 1922, you can resume normal speed.
Resume normal speed, Envoy 1922, thank you.
Clipper 295, you can resume normal speed.
Clipper 295, sorry, confirm on speed?
Clipper 295, you can resume normal speed.
Thanks, normal speed, Clipper 295. I'm back to profile. That's going to be quite an increase up here.
234, Hotel Foxtrot, radar service terminated, squawk VFR, frequency change approved, zip.
4 Hotel Foxtrot.
Elitist Maggie, did you have to watch the Q&A they did? Looks like they're starting to take weather and weather radar seriously in 2023. I only chimed in a little bit for the Q&A and saw that they're working on the G3000 update, so I did watch the part on the weather and weather radar, but hey, anything they improve is actually
Delta 520.
Anything they improve is actually quite good news for us.
Delta 520 Indy Center, hello, squawk 6704.
Andrew, from the time you started using Microsoft Flight Simulator, ignoring new content, what would you say is a single thing that has been improved in any sim update? Well, the wind shifts. Even though we still have wind shifts,
Pilot Club 711,
it did get quite a bit better than it used to be initially.
India approach to 4.65.
There are probably a lot more things that are already totally locked out of my brain, but the wind shifts are one of those things that did certainly get improved. Still not perfect, still need more work, but you know, things are getting better.
Or hello, not a Delta 520 radar contact, 15 miles south of Flag City. Climb maintain flight level 340.
Climb maintain flight level 340, Delta 520, thanks.
And Afmat, is the gap between Microsoft Flight Simulator Physics and X-Plane 12 still big, or is Microsoft Flight Simulator good in physics? Never tried a real plane, so better to ask a real pilot. I can't compare it to X-Plane 12 because I haven't flown X-Plane 12 yet.
Clipper
but I can tell you this
flight
much.
level 255,
The
climbing
physics of Microsoft Flight Simulator are not
we are about 20 miles
Are they good?
southeast
Well,
of the
depends a little bit on the standard of good that you want to define, but in my opinion, yes, they are good. Because it is fun to fly in here, and some things do indeed behave a little bit different, but overall it's not all that different. So I am rather happy with that. Now, a little bit of the manual flight dynamics, a little bit of the ground roll dynamics, certainly some of the impacts that turbulence has on the airplane, and the impact that weather should have on the airplane, that's all stuff that they can still work on. However, overall, I would say that the physics in Microsoft Flight Simulator, while not perfect, they are quite okay.
95, descend Beagle Snake Pit to arrival, Indianapolis landing southwest, Indianapolis altimeter 3038.
Clipper 295, altimeter 3038, descend about the Snake Pit to arrival, landing southwest. Okay, so first altitude we can go down to is 240. And how far off are we? Well, here we go. Almost there. Let's, I'm gonna try the trick that you guys told me a couple of times, which is just start the descent in another mode than profile, and then just rejoin the profile as it approaches. So let's start with vertical speed minus 1,000, and then we'll catch the profile as it comes. But it just vanished. Okay, that much about it. Well, let's see if it comes back when we overfly the top of descent.
Club 15, radar contact, 10 miles.
Maybe on the progress page?
300. Did you want to climb to 340?
Let's in cruise mode over here.
Negative, actually came down from 340. It's better down here, Club 15.
Club 15, roger, maintain level 300.
Can we force it into descent mode somehow?
300, Club 15.
Why is it didn't confirm entry now? No, don't want to do that.
Indianapolis Center, good evening. November 1729 Foxtrot is type Cessna.
Okay, now it's showing us
Grand
descent,
Caravan.
and we're 800 high. Okay, that's better.
2,300 feet, approximately.
Let's see if we can capture that.
5 nautical miles northwest of Warren County. Request flight following to Tampa Executive. Tango, Papa, Alpha at 6,000 feet.
And Andrew, yes, they are a bit better. I love the sim, but it's really hard to see any improvements since release.
1729
I wouldn't quite say so. I mean, there has been some
maintain VFR, Cincinnati altimeter 3039.
Squawk 6, say again?
Even though it's not perfect, that's out of question. But overall, I am rather happy with Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Cincinnati altimeter 3039.
Hans van Golden, hope to see a good A330 in this sim.
640, remain
and you doing streams then? You can be sure I will. I mean, I'm looking forward to the Aerosol A330. Their products haven't been perfect in the past, but they've been quite usable, and they've certainly been enjoyable. So I am looking forward to that, and you can be very sure that you will see me doing live streams on it.
Club 6755, Indy Center, Squawk 6726.
And Ahmad, one last question for now. Stop to disturb. No worries, my friend.
Today
I was at my local flying school, and I was talking to the CFI. He told me that he said that if I want to become a pilot, I'll have no future. Is that true? Not at all. That is not true at all.
Class Bravo airspace over 1729 Foxtrot.
Pilot Club 6755, radar contact, 10 miles west of Newcomer's down, follow 360.
Hello, just Maggie. I definitely feel the new thermals when I'm landing now. Have you noticed any of them when you're landing? Did a couple of approaches to Itami last night, and it was pretty wild. Yeah, I have noticed them as well, and it is something that I really like as well. So why are we increasing thrust right now? Come on, plane. Fly at proper speed, please. I will reduce the cost against it.
Center, Envoy 1922, semi-swivel.
Envoy 1922 should be with Indy approach 12.
Oh, lovely, it doesn't. What a reduce
Contact first, 24.65.
Well, we are Pan Am, we have the money. At least we had it almost until the end, so I just want to keep that here. So next restriction, that's below, so 14,000. Set and set altimeter 3038. Passing 2640, Sunday.
Maintain level 320 for traffic. That traffic's your 9 o'clock, 5 miles southbound, level 340 and A320 for correction 737.
Ahmad, he said the pilot job is going to disappear. Also, he said that the alarm pilot is just setting the plane and flying it, you know? Honestly, that's bullshit what that guy said. That is bullshit.
Delta 520 traffic here, 12 o'clock, 5 miles.
And Hans van Golden, great, big A330 fan. Will you change your YouTube name? No. Actually, it's something I thought about.
Look out for the traffic, Delta 520.
I'll have to think about it.
132 and
I'll have to think about
contact Kansas City Center 125.72.
And Matthias, we are on Watson here.
As you set to Delta 520 has the traffic.
Delta 520, roger. Clipper 295, India approach now 124.65.
124.650, Clipper 295, bye.
Indy Center, this is November 24 Echo Echo, climbing to
Icon 711, contact the approach 12817.
128.7,
128.17.
128.17, Michael 7.
Indy approach, good afternoon, Clipper 295 Heavy, passing 220 on the Snake Pit 2 arrival information uniform.
Aircraft calling sick, call sign over please.
Clipper 295 Heavy.
Or 295 Heavy, the approach on number 303, contact. Expect 20.
Clipper 295, altimeter 303, expect 23 right. Okay, 23 right is what we planned. So, seatbelts on. Around about 70 miles to go. Warthog, AU24, thank you very much for the $20 donation. Dinner on you next flight. Thank you so much.
17, Pilot Club 145. See you later.
Graviscom 111, excuse me if I do a tonal much amount, but you are the best in Utah community. Well, thank you so much. What is the difference between banana indicator and the arrow? Okay, what are you talking about? You're talking about the level of arrow over here versus the descent altitude banana. Well, that is a very good question, to be honest. In the A320, but you would have the level of arrow, while in the 737 you have the banana. Now in the 310 you actually have both. I guess, and that is pure guessing, since I'm using profile mode and nav mode, it's giving us the arrow, and if I went to selected mode it would probably give us the banana. But that is a guess, so don't quote me on it, okay? Not 100% sure if I'm honest. Okay, next restriction is 11.5. Oh, I didn't. It's on.
Okay, you want me to go over to 12417?
Yep, 128.17.
13417, thank you. Have a good evening.
Good.
And maybe one of my American friends can help me out there. I heard once that in the US you're expected to fly 280 knots pretty much on any star if they don't give you a speed restriction. Is that true, or is that just a rumor that I've heard somewhere? So, next guy is 10 miles in front. You know what, let's do a little bit of action flight. So, passing Bapney, next altitude restriction then is going to be 8,000. So here we go, 8,000 sets. And what's that speed doing here? Why is it commanding 215 knots? It's good. Go 250 initially. Have to slow down by race 210 knots, but that's no reason to slow down that much quite yet.
Five heavy contact. You found a 128 117.
128 117. Correct.
First, Envoy 1922, any possibility you use your airspeed?
Correction, Envoy 1922, I'll slower for you in about 5 miles.
Understood, thank you.
Above 7, no more disregard.
Indy final low to the 295 heavy.
For 295 heavy in the approach, it's going to maintain 5,000 and 250 knots.
Descend and maintain 5,000, 250 knots, then the 295 heavy. Okay, set 5,000 seconds, and speed 250 is set anyway.
Above 711, maintain 180 knots until checkered.
180 knots until checkers.
Checkers, that's also a way to pronounce that thing. By the way, typical situation once again. Here is our sun visor, here is the sun. So, 10,000. Lights on. Wireless on. Cabin crew, 10 minutes to landing.
Envoy 1922, cross.
Okay, we're passing Femgo, below 9,000 as per the chart. 250 knots we have. Very good.
Moving 200 knots, cross reaching at 5,000.
So, still like 30 miles out then, so
Thank you, Envoy 1922.
might use a little bit of thrust now. So yeah, regarding that earlier question about the difference between the banana and the arrow, looks like the banana is indeed active when we are on selected modes, like level change right now, versus profile previously.
Say again, for Envoy 1920. Say again, please. You were stepped on.
180 knots until checker.
180 knots full checker. Thank you.
Yeah, I think my team speaker Discord audio bleeds through, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it's all right.
For 295 heavy, just limit correction reduce speed 210 knots.
Reduce speed at 210. Can I make 215 to keep the flaps up to the 295?
Clip 295, maintain 210, or correction 215, 215.
215, thanks. 295.
We'll have to slow you in probably 5 more miles, maybe a little bit less.
Roger.
Envoy 1922, underwood license.
Roger.
Still not receiving that ILS. message. More drag. That's understood. We'll get the flaps out momentarily, so then we'll have our drag. Alright, here we go with the ILS signals. So we have 1175, also 230, minimum is 190. And from here we can activate the final approach. Okay, approach checklist. Signs. Set. Briefing confirmed. Ecam status checked. Altimeters 3038. Minimums 990. Ignition is off. Landing elevation 800 set. Approach checklist complete. So racing at 5,000, that fits pretty well. And the altitude is checked.
Boy 1922, contact Indianapolis Tower 120.
Hold stone.
Contact Indianapolis
The glass
Tower
looks alive.
120.9, thank you.
Let's start slowing down. Plus 15.
For 295, you're over racing, clear ILS 23 right, and making 180 knots or greater until racing.
295, cleared ILS 23 right and 190 or greater until racing.
I'm sorry, and maintain 180 knots or greater until checkered.
180 or greater until checkered. Split 295, that makes a bit more sense now. Thanks. Alright, 3000 for the Mr. Set. We are basically established already, so let's do. Get that T-cut range down a little bit.
Flipper 295, heavy contact Indianapolis Tower 120.
Flipper 295, Heavy just got stepped on there, so again, 3 months.
For 295, heavy contact Indianapolis Tower 120.9.
120.9, Flipper 295, thanks, Bob.
Flight heading 215, Winchester right, traffic short, or traffic 3 miles per hour.
215 in the heading over to the rest of the takeoff for 1883.
Did you tag anything? Flipper 295 Heavy, ILS 23 right.
Convoy 1922, traffic departing Roger, right, Winchester.
No, that's not us.
Critical land, traffic for the front prior, thank you.
Aircraft calling, was it about 8 mile final second?
That's Clipper 295 Heavy, good evening.
295 heavy any tower.
Continue approach, Clipper 295. Okay, flaps 15, we are a mile from checkout, that's good enough to start reducing.
295, there.
190 and we just about start reducing Clipper 295.
295, reduce your speeders.
Speed out is track, Clipper 295. Okay, get out. Flaps. Well, let's wait until that gear is actually down.
American 1691, contact departure 16465.
Okay, flaps 20.
How was the departure range 692?
And flaps 30.
Boy 1922, left one equal ground point nine.
Left one equal ground point nine.
And speed 138. Let's add 5 knots to that, so 143.
295, runway 23 right,
23 right, clear land, prepare 295. Right, landing checklist. Landing gear, down. Auto brake on, any skids checked, flaps, 30-40, and spoilers on. Landing checklist complete. So I tend to say we found just about the right time for this one. So talking about flight simulator physics, the thrust handling on final approach, that is something I don't really like. It's just, well, not immediate enough. You know, in real life it's really easy to maintain the speed roundabout where you want it to be. And in here you're constantly playing with the throttles and you're just not getting what you want to get. And I noticed that with all aircraft types in here, so I think it's something like flight simulator. Right, so be aware, 310 buck, we will not get any radio altitude callouts, and minimums continue. $50, $40, $30, $20, $10, and we're down. Break up, thrust wheel is normal. .100 knots. Auto brakes off. 80 knots.
Number 295, left foot able, ground point 100.
Left foot able, ground point 9 into the 295, okay. And I'm almost missing the exit. That had to happen at some point. Okay, so we're off at Bravo 7. Right, good evening. Clipper 295 Heavy, indicated Bravo 7.
Papa Alpha Alpha 295, welcome to Indy, Texas 3 via Bravo Tango, have a good night.
To the round 5 Bravo Tango, Clipper 295, good night. Alright, so let's go straight ahead here, and then we are going to do the alpha landing items afterwards.
We're here. Air information uniform, like VFR departure back.
So, quick check on Navigov charts. Tango is the first to the right, okay. Perfect, so time for a little bit of household.
Hotel Foxtrot, VFR departure to the left of the route, maintain our initial VFR at overload 2,500. Departure frequency will be 124.65. Contact ready to taxi, show the mic.
So, let's see what I missed after landing checklist. Flat flaps, retracting, transponder.
Envoy 1922, round the ramp,
set, weather radar off, spoilers distant on clear view started, after landing checks complete. Okay, Tango is next right. Oops.
Envoy 19.
So, into Tango. So that gate straight ahead there looks quite nice. We'll take that. And Fago, your frames are dying. Yeah. They've been better. They've been better. The 310, even though it is seeing improvement, it's still not perfect yet. Alright, so The Bravo 7 here. Looks about fine. So, no parking system, no marshaller, no nothing. Oh, this has to do. Okay, brake set. Still waiting for the APU. What is it doing? Still starting. Well, shut down engine number 2.
Wing 567 off the gate, ready to taxi 23.
By the way, let's use that opportunity. Quick look at the electrical page.
567, runway 23 right, taxi via Kilo.
Oh, now the
Romeo,
APU
Bravo,
generator
Bravo
took
1.
over. Okay, perfect.
Kilo Romeo, Bravo.
Apologies, I don't need you.
Bearing 567, runway 23 right, taxi via Kilo, Romeo, Bravo, Bravo 1.
Kilo Romeo, Bravo, Bravo.
Okay, so shutdown checklists. Or parking checklist as they call it here. APU bleed on, engines off. Differential pressure 0. Light signs are set. Fuel pumps off, window and trophy off, parking brake and shocks. Let's take care of that right now. So we've got shocks, we've got GPU, let's get the jetway as well. Then the brake can go off. Maximum power is on, but let's keep the APU for air conditioning because it is a little chilly, let's say, at -1 degrees. Alright, so we've made it. Peter, it needs optimization. Yeah, as you say, it does still need a little bit of optimization in terms of frame rates, but overall, at least on my computer, it performs fine for the vast majority of the time, so I'm rather happy with that. What's that? Cabin door not fully closed. Yeah, that is expected when we have a jetway connecting. So, are you gonna cover the remaining few meters as well, or no? Well, okay, I didn't park very good either. I have to give him that. Anyway, we've made it all the way down to Indy. So, thank you very much everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today, and as always, really hope you have enjoyed the flight today. I am looking forward to see you all again on the next one, and in the meantime, Relative Maggie, yeah, as you say, you might just about have to make that little jump over. And Matthias, I would say, when did you see frame rates like you have a Microsoft Flight Simulator, this quality of graphics in P3D? Yeah, never. P3D just couldn't do that. And Ruben, what's the program for the landing rate monitor? I'm using SimToolkit Pro for that. So, you're right, we should actually have a look at that landing. I totally forgot that. So, here you go. Let's go ahead and check that landing report out. So, here we are. Where's that runway? Starting up there. Pretty much on center line. Tiny bit behind the aiming point and 196 feet a minute. Well, I would call that a textbook landing. So that is exactly what you're supposed to do. Some people say 180 feet a minute is like the most optimal, but that is also what the passengers are slowly gonna start calling positive. But couple meters behind the aiming point, at a decent rate, less than 200 feet a minute, on the center line, I would definitely say 4.5 degrees pitch. Tail strike attitude is 11 degrees, so that's good. Roll, tiny bit banked, not a problem whatsoever. Overall, a landing to be quite happy with. And Matthias, the program we see right now is SimToolkit Pro, and that is the landing rate monitor of SimToolkit Pro with the landing analysis. And yes, Alice's Maggie, it is free, exactly as you say. So, I once again hope that you've enjoyed today, and if you did, like, comment and subscribe. If you really want to help me out with the channel, then I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link, or maybe through Super Chat. But Super Chat takes like 30% to YouTube, so well, that's gonna be it. So thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I am looking forward to see you all again, hopefully very soon.